Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Also, good morning to those folks out on the West Coast. Let's take a look and make sure that the audio is working. And let's see. Oh my goodness, Timothy is already here in the chat. You beat me to it. Oh, so is Robert William. Oh my goodness. Good evening, guys. All right. Exotic Geeks as well. Says hello. Good to see you. All right, so let's see. It says it's okay. Good, it is. All right. My notes were really thin this week for various reasons. So Dan to the rescue came in with a ton of articles, and let's see what we've got up first. I've got my window on top of the news, so let's fix that. There we go. Oh, I did that right. I did that wrong. Let's start over here. Find you guys again and hit share screen. All right, Timothy says you can hear us. Warning, you may share your screen. People can see what you're looking at. Yeah, I know. That's why I clicked the share screen button. Let's never show that warning again. All right. So Omar and I were speculating about what was going on with Tesla in Indonesia, and we thought it might be a little odd for them to do a gigafactory so close to China, but they could have done it to spite India after the negotiations fell apart that way. But this made way more sense, and it was also something we'd looked at, like maybe they were just looking at resources, and that seems to be the case because now Tesla has a $5 billion deal to purchase nickel from Indonesia. And let's see, I only skimmed this the first time I read it. So it's a 5-year contract with nickel processing companies operating out of Morowali on the Sulawesi Island in Indonesia, and the nickel will be utilized in the lithium-ion batteries. And Eddie's asking if I saw the anti-FSD commercial. I don't know if I saw the commercial, but I saw their latest shenanigans, and I've got something for that as soon as I can find the window on here. I put it in the same, like it's an ultra-wide monitor, but I put them both in the center, and I got to find it now. I've got other stuff like the one you're looking at now. Good evening, Anders. Good to see you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a gesture on the trackpad, and there's tweets, and there's us. There's YouTube videos. Okay, now that's the one we're looking at. Did I cover it up? Let's start minimizing windows. There we go. That'll do the trick. I didn't open it in the same window. I've done that before. I hate it when I do this. Just so it's the one downside to having a large screen is that you can lose your stuff. All right, that one we don't need right away either. Anyway, let's move on to the next article while I look for that, and we can talk about it. So I cannot do the switch tab thing still to this day. Kevin Smith said, Eddie, did you see? He apologized, admitted he didn't validate the info he was given. He empathized. He admitted it was wrong. If it's the same guy I'm thinking of, the one with Dan O'Dowd, that I don't accept his apologies. He's doing a false run for office so he can get the cheap advertising rates as a politician, and he is trying to use politics to make sure that his competitors cannot be competitors, which is lame. And he needs to just make his product better. He sells something that something of an operating system for companies that run other self-driving style computers as well as lidar companies run their lidar on his software as well, and so he's just trying to take out the competition. Uh, yeah, Robert's talking about salt batteries. As soon as they can get it up to commercial readiness, I'm all for it, and I wish them success. And let's see. So our friend Patrick wrote an article over at carswithcords.net over here, where he says Tesla's biggest advantage is that they are not saddled with legacy combustion business. So their biggest advantage is that they are not competing against Tesla. And that came up to be really prescient. And I like the way that he went back and compared how Tesla's able to go through and do iterative improvements against themselves. So you've got solar is doing quite well today. I heard the fans kick up, and we're now producing. So it's the phone reason. It peaked over a kilowatt and is back down to 300 watts. So the 2012 Model S was $115,000, and the long-range dual motor is now $990 as of 2022 in May. The only thing I had kind of poked him about was he gave he fixed it. He fixed it. He's given the supercharging advantage to the 2012 by counting their later rate, but at their introduction they were doing 90 kilowatts, and now we're at 250 kilowatts, and that's about to go up when V3 superchargers get their update and V4 superchargers come out. Whereas Tesla's able to incrementally improve themselves. All of the other automakers that want to make electric cars to compete at that level, they're at a disadvantage because now they have to come in at that new Tesla level and then exceed it because they have to give you a reason, price, performance, style, features, something that will make you want to buy their product instead. So I thought this was a really good article, and I'm going to paste it in here so you guys can give it a read. Also, if you have like RSS readers or anything, go ahead and subscribe to his website here. And then, what do you guys think about Tesla not having to compete with anybody else as an advantage for them? All right, I think I found the window. I did. Yay! So let me scroll down to the one that Eddie and I were kind of insider baseball talking about, and we'll go from there. Here we go. So there was a video that purported to show a test of full self-driving or autopilot, whichever, and it was saying that that the car hit a simulated child. The problem is that autopilot wasn't even on. This Nano Dowd is almost as bad as Elon's daddy. Um, just trash person. Yes, Anders, absolutely. Thank you. Please click the like button. It helps the channel out. And so let's get back to this right here. So let me shrink this text a little bit. Wow, that is not this window. Come on now. There we go. Yeah, so I think this is the actual commercial that Eddie was talking about. And then there was a test. Let's see. He's probably going to try and take down this. So if you're watching after the fact, the video will probably jump because when he hits the takedown, I'm going to hit delete that clip because I'm not in it to give him any extra publicity. But what we'll do is we'll try and look at it and pick it apart. When the topic fits the discussion, thoughts on closing orders for the... Yeah, that was another one we were going to talk about today. Closing orders for the Model 3 long range. Elon said it was excessive wait times, but it's shorter than the long range Model S, X, and Model Y are also open for orders. Absolutely. The S and X I can understand because they're dragging butt on that. On the compared to the Y, I don't understand, except that that they make more profit on the Y. So if they move those batteries for the long range pack into the Model Y, they make more money, as well as uh, the Model 3 long range dual motor is above the tax credit threshold that just got signed in, and maybe they're gonna kind of come back with a reconfigured car that meets that. Because right now they have the base Model 3, which is the Model 3, it used to be called the Model 3 standard range. That one still qualifies, uh, but they're going to want something as a kind of a step up from that that might also still qualify. So let's take a look at his little advertisement. The Dawn Project is definitely Dan O'Dowd, and it is the same guy. He runs some Green Mountain something. His goal is to get his competitors out of the picture. So with that in mind, let's go through what he's doing and comment on it. So this whole segment, like I said, if you're watching this in the replay, may be gone. If he issues me a YouTube takedown, I'm gonna just delete his stuff. I don't care. So let's try it and see. Ah, music. All right, so Willow Springs test track. All right, you got yourself a Model 3, got a fake kid. Amazing. Yeah, autopilot's not even on. You can see it on the screen. There was no, right here. There is, when you're on autopilot on a Model 3, right here, there's a little blue circle when the car is steering. It's not even on cruise control because the speed would be highlighted at that point, right there, and it is not. Let me increase the resolution for this on 480. Oh, he recorded it in low resolution. It only allows me to go up to 480p. Another little bit of subterfuge. So let's see what else we got here. I mean, I can run over dummies all day long. And then here's this fool right here. So don't vote for him. He's running his trash nationwide, but in California, don't vote for him. Normally, I just say go vote, but don't vote for this fool. Um, what do you guys think about this smear campaign? Let's also see what the author Electric thought. Let's see. Professional driver brought the vehicle up to speed of 40 miles per hour and then engaged full self-driving. Yeah, sure he did. Um, sure he did. Not only that, but full self-driving won't necessarily engage there unless it thinks it's a lane, and that's too wide of a lane to engage autopilot or full self-driving. And yep, same thing I pointed out there, that is not under control. Yeah, I mean that would be awesome because that is slander right there. It's not. It's not even um, whatever these agendas are, where they're like trying to get you to not do the climate change thing. That is slander. Exactly. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And that's all he's trying to do. That's why he's running his campaign nationwide, because he's not really running. He doesn't really want to get elected. Although, if he does get elected, the only thing he's going to be working on is finding a way to make it so that Tesla can't sell their stuff. And then, once he gets Tesla out of the way, he'll go for Rivian and Lucid and GM and anybody who's not running on his platform. Anyone who's using Mobileye is still using him until Mobileye changes their mind and switches away from this guy. Um, Somebody speculated that they are being funded by Mobileye, but I don't. That's a very risky move, and it would come out right away in discovery. And I, I think he's doing this on his own to protect his company, and the other companies, his other customers, have not asked him to do this. Let's see. In addition, the vehicle keeps pushing an alert that can't be read due to the resolution of the video. I also called out the resolution of the video. Yeah. So it might be saying something like the cameras are blocked. The vehicles not to be appear to be equipped with full self-driving beta, or at least the FSD beta visualization wasn't activated during this video. Let's look at that again. That is a full self-driving visualization. But again, it doesn't look like the car is actually doing it. But yeah, see, that's what the car wants to do. There's the path. There's the road edges. So that's the beta software, but it's not running. It's not controlling the car. It's purely this driver mowing down mannequins. Uh-huh. Electric reached out to their project to point out that unlike what they claim, FSD beta was never engaged during the test, and based on their own footage in the ad. The explanation is quite simple. Uh, Tesla relies on map data, and this test was performed on a closed course at Willow Springs. Tesla doesn't rely on map data. They lean on it pretty heavy, though. Let's see. They contacted me back, but could only provide an affidavit from the driver who conducted the test, claiming in the sworn statement that he believed FSD was activated. I can see thinking cruise control is on, but there is no way to mistake when the beta is on and off. There are a few additional raw clips he provided that are FSD with it engaged, and says they are FSD and with it engaged, and they are blurred, and you can still overlay translucent error messages and confirm it is acceleration override. Oh, wow, good point. So yeah, if you smush the pedal, which I did do the other day, which was awesome, there was a car doing what I like to call a Floridian turn, where they just basically stop in the lane and then they turn left or right very slowly. The guy was halfway in my lane, turning left. There was no oncoming traffic. There's no reason for him to be stopped or turning as slowly as he was. The car slowed down, which I thought was fair, and then it stopped, and I didn't want it stopped. So what I did was I pushed the accelerator, and I got a message, like you said, but mine is in a different place because I have two screens instead of one. So I got a message about how the car's not going to brake, and then FSD turned the wheel to the right, went into the shoulder, and half in the shoulder, half in the lane, and the other half of the lane the guy wasn't in. Then once it was past the guy, it turned back and straightened out. It's exactly the way I was going to do it, because I thought it was just going to sit there and get closer and closer like it does in traffic, and then just kind of basically stop, like, because I wasn't slamming the accelerator, I was just tapping it, like, yeah, go ahead, go forward, go forward. And if it had stopped, what I was going to do was just take over, go around him, and then turn it back on. And so that's another really good point, Kevin. Anders has a good point about what is the doll made of. That would work for the radar-equipped cars like mine, but on cars like mine that are in the FSD beta program, Tesla has turned off the radar. Radar is no longer an input into the actions of the car. But as we talked about a couple weeks ago, Green the Only, one of the Tesla hackers, if you will, he goes through and looks at the code and changes, and he determined that the radar is actually still powered on and sending data to Tesla when it does the uploads of the FSD training that it's doing for me, but it's not doing anything for me. So I guess what they might be doing is comparing what it would have done back on the old radar system and then what it's actually doing on Vision. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. But in that case, if the radar were still on, then the contents of the dummy's structure would really matter. But since FSD beta uses Vision only, and the new cars only use Vision, it would have to be in the blind spot. So they would have to jump the dummy out past the they'd have to pop him up and then over. So that, because there is a small blind spot in the front corners of the car. But if he was crossing the road, he would be seen by the side cameras that face forward, and then the front cameras, they have they can't see too close to the hood, but they can see pretty darn close. So that's another way they could have cheated, but that is way too much engineering versus just lying. Lying is cheap. All right, so Exhibit B shows a screen with a warning regarding full self-driving beta. That screen showed when the vehicle's in full self-driving mode. No, not really. If it's anything other than that, the FSD just won't engage. Like my brother and his wife just bought themselves a Model X. It had a wrap over the ultrasonic sensors. So when I was trying to show them summon, just basic forward and back summon, it's been in the cars since 2014 or 16. Very long time now. The car said, "No, I can't verify the sensors, so I'm not going to activate this," which is the right action, because you don't want it trying to roll forward or back at 6,000 pounds and unable to see an obstacle or a small child. And so after she cut the wrap out, all but one of the sensors came back, and it still won't engage because one of the sensors is still complaining, which is the right action. Also, the same thing happened when my car had the crushed camera coaxial cables. If they got to a certain condition with the weather, the cables and the camera and everything would expand and contract, and they would get garbage back from the left forward-facing camera, the left pillar camera, and so then I would just be out of it. Wouldn't activate. I couldn't use cruise. Well, Later on, I could use cruise control, but initially I couldn't use cruise control. The car would show me some of the stuff it sees, but it would pretend that it couldn't see other stuff, which is funny because like if it couldn't see the road, but I go to steer over a lane without turning on the signal. This is just me testing it. Not I signal everywhere, even in parking lots. The car would nudge me back. I'm like, wait, if you can't see, how did you know I was crossing the line? Um, so it uses as many safety features as it still can. Um, I just there are so many legitimate things to be upset with Tesla, Elon, the hardware, the software about that you don't need to just make stuff up and lie about it. I mean, he does for his agenda, but again, just make a better product. If all this money and effort he's wasting on taking Tesla down, he's got a limited amount of time to take over before, like by doing it right, before it ends up being so good that other people are coming to Tesla to license the FSD product. But he can't really do that because he doesn't actually make the product. He makes the underlying operating system. So he sees it running away, and nothing he can do about it, like a slow train wreck. Um, I'd say that the next closest I would expect to see is General Motors, because they have a product that they have Super Cruise now, which only works on mapped roads and only in certain conditions. Blah blah blah. And you have to be looking ahead and then it's watching you with the camera. Uh, that one's kind of comparable to just regular auto steer and autopilot, but their next product they're advertising is called GM Ultra Cruise, and when you read what it says it can do, all of that is basically FSD. Now we'll see if they actually do it on time and what it consists of, but uh, I wouldn't bet on it. Like if you asked me to go invest in it, I would not, because I don't think it's gonna happen. All right, so we talked about that one. Now let's talk about the other one you brought up here. All out of order on me now. And it's the wrong company. Oh, it was a tweet. That's why I'm missing it, because it was a tweet. Copy this. Put it over here for you guys. All right, so Ava's reporting that Tesla Model 3 and Model Y are the most requested. Oh, wait, this is the wrong one. Sorry. That was also a tweet. This one was from Sawyer. We'll go back to that one in a minute. Breaking! Tesla has turned off ordering for the long range Model 3 in the US and Canada. It now says available in 2023. And like as I was just speculating, that I think it has to do with making more profit on the available batteries, because they are still battery constrained, as well as uh, taking advantage of getting people primed for the tax credit. Because one of the things that's in the tax credit is that or at least it was in there before they passed it over to the House, and then the House passed it over to the president. Uh, One of the things that was in there is cars that were ordered prior to the passing don't count. And since the Model 3 long range was just on the edge of qualifying, whatever changes Tesla makes to make it qualify, my speculation, um, it would qualify, but then the customer still wouldn't get their tax credit because it was ordered prior to uh, the start date of the tax credit. So now, what I think may happen is they'll come in like a dollar under. The same thing they did in Canada. They come in a dollar under the tax credit threshold, and then they won't open the orders back up till 12:01, either Eastern or local time to the orderer, so that you can qualify to get that tax credit on the car. Especially if they just make enough tweaks to make it just squeak through, which I could totally see them doing. I told my brother to get his order in. Now it's too late. This is what we keep saying with Tesla. If you see what you want, get it now, because it's going to change. They may make it better. They may make it worse. Or typically, what happens is they cancel the stuff you wanted. So I wanted what did I want at the time? I don't remember. There were a couple cars I tried to order. Oh yeah, my initial Tesla order. I wanted a Model S40, and I had just saved the order fee. So I just saved the order fee, and that was going to be payday on Friday, and then on like Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday, Elon tweeted, the Model S40 is canceled. Nobody wants that thing. They're all going to be Model S60s." And I didn't know at the time that I probably could have tried to call a Tesla rep and get them to manually shove that thing in there because I was only off by a day. But again, with Tesla, if you see something you want, just get it now, and if it's a car on order, worst case is you just don't pick it up and you wasted $100. If if it does come through and they make it better, sometimes the car will get better on the line, but you always end up a lot of the folks with these older cars are like, man, I mean, such and such feature would be nice, but man, I enjoy having unlimited entertainment. I don't have to pay for internet. Oh man, supercharging for life is great. Or just any number of things like that. Like as Robert Williams pointing out, the cool seats. My car has air conditioned seats. They weren't there before my order went in, and then I put it in and they were there, and then they went away again, and they're back now. But so if you want cool seats, especially from Tesla, then you gotta just get it when they sell it.
They're constantly making changes all the time.
Exactly, and they don't wait for a week. They don't wait for a model year. I mean, there are times where they have done stuff to align with the model year, but that is rare.
Hello, Robert William, and everybody.
Indeed. All right. So, what is your thoughts on this Model 3 long range dual motor pause?
I think they're sold out for the year, and I think it's a possibility that they're going to make some kind of changes. So there might be making some changes on the line. Um, I don't know what those changes are. Maybe they're going to use the structural 4680 battery pack or something. I don't know, but it could be some changes happening. So
They could do the
we'll see,
cast.
we'll see the long range again next year.
Yeah, they could do the cast front, or even turn it into the whole thing. Put it in the Gigapress. It might not be structural, but it still be a lot better than the million pieces of aluminum they use now.
Right.
They
But
already
just going
started
back
at
to
the
your
rear.
previous story
Yeah, that's what I
with
was going
the
to ask next.
I, I really wanted to point out something that I haven't seen anybody else really mention. So if you looked at the screenshot of what was shown with the car that was supposedly on FSD
Yeah.
during that incident, um, if the car was on FSD or even regular autopilot, normally you'd see the lane markers on the side would be blue, right?
Not necessarily with FSD.
Unless it's on navigate on autopilot on
Right.
FSD, then you see the line in the middle, like it's shown here. So there's some inconsistencies with this video. I've only really seen
Well,
the line
this
in the
this
middle if it was navigating on autopilot.
right. If autopilot is off, this line is gray. If it's on, then it's blue. It's telling the little snake is what we used to call it. The snake would be blue, telling you that, hey, I'm following this path. Gray means
Well,
it's not.
when well, no,
Because this is what it would try to do. But if I went over to my X and turned it on right now, it would be blue. But if I were to just manually drive out of my neighborhood, it would be gray like that, and it'd be whipping around because it wants to go the wrong way.
well, maybe on beta, but from
Yeah,
my experience, from what I've seen on regular FSD
yeah,
when I
it'd
had
be
it,
white or gray. Yeah,
it doesn't even show a line in the middle
unless it's
unless
navigating on autopilot on
it's
the highway.
navigating on autopilot. That's
Yeah,
when you see a line in the middle. You don't see a line in the middle at all. You
yeah,
only
and
see
then
the lines on the side. It's
I don't know,
showing you, it
but
believes
they would be
this is the
white.
line
Right.
markers,
They would be
and
white
it
because
right,
on
and they'll be
regular
gray.
autopilot, when it's turned on, there are two blue lines because blue is Tesla's way of saying this is under car control.
Correct.
Remember, I had that update where I pointed out that the gear selector had turned blue because now the gear selector is under Tesla control.
Right.
Um, in fact, what I did the other day was I turned on FSD, gear selector turned blue. I popped it in reverse, or I tried to pop it in reverse. It says, you're gonna have to disengage full self driving if you wanna go in reverse, son.
Right. So so
So there's nothing blue. So there's nothing under car
So
control.
so there's nothing blue there at all. You
Not
don't have the
speed, not
blue
nothing.
up top in the
Yeah.
left. You don't have, and the fact that you have a line there, from my experience, is navigate on autopilot, and on that type of road, it would never navigate on autopilot on that road.
Right. I don't even think it would work on. It might work on the beta, but I don't think that like the lane is so wide that it might just give up because it's not a lane; it's a racetrack.
Right. That's a closed track. It's not gonna navigate in autopilot on that closed track.
Right.
At least not
So
in my experience.
so what I've found for me on FSD on residential roads, they're just too wide. They're longer than 3 lanes wide. Like maybe it's a 5 lane because they can have parking on the side and nobody's parked. Sometimes it'll turn on. Other times it's like, nah, I don't know what's going on. Or it'll turn on and it'll go like this, trying to find the edges. Because it can't turn its head. So if it wants to look out of a particular camera, it's got to move the camera. So it just does like a seesaw with the whole car.
Yeah,
The,
I just see a lot of inconsistencies with what they did,
yeah,
and then you, as you pointed out, with the error message down at the bottom, because if you keep your foot down on the accelerator, it's going to say, "Hey, I can't brake because you're overriding me." So it's going to give
right.
you an error message on the bottom of me telling you you're overriding it, so I can't brake. You're on your own. You know,
Cruise control will not brake. Release
right.
pedal. It's quite adamant.
Which I have experienced that before. For
I'll do it
various reasons.
sometimes.
I'll
Well,
have it
my
on
favorite time to do it,
autopilot, or I'll have it on
yeah,
cruise control, and then there's a reason why. How the car likes to slow down for certain things. Like if somebody's turning,
that was what I was
they're
gonna
in
say.
your
Somebody's
lane, but then
turning
they're
left in
turning
front of
out
me.
of your lane
Yeah,
really slowly, but they're enough out of your lane for you to go through, but the car still wants to stop anyway because it's just
right,
being super cautious. I'm
right.
not mad at the car for that, but I will put my foot on the accelerator and say, no, 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 it's okay to go. And it
Yeah,
will show you that message at the bottom, like, hey, I won't break. You're overriding me.
yeah. The car's like, hey man, this fool may, he was foolish enough to stop in front of me or cross in front of me. He may be foolish enough to stop on the road, and it's right. Actually, 1 or 2 times that's actually happened where the person cut me off and then stops on the road because, like, I don't know, maybe they're afraid to go up a ramp, or once they get into wherever they were cutting me off to go to, they have to make a right or left turn or whatever, and so their rear is just hanging out on the road. So the car's been right about it twice. But usually I see, okay, this fool cut me off, but they will be out of the way by the time I get there. And man, they're so lucky that this thing is so cautious and it slowed down 5 miles an hour. Because if it was me, I would have clipped them. I mean, I wouldn't personally clip them, but I would let them think that was going to clip them, and
Right.
because I'm a jerk. And
Well, that's just human nature. Most of us would. So anyway, like I said, there's a lot of inconsistencies with that, and
yeah,
so I do see it as slanderous, and if Tesla, if Tesla's team decides to go after them, with because Tesla does have lawyers, a team of lawyers,
yeah,
if they decide to go after them, like for libel or sue them or something like that, I think they would probably have a case. Of
yeah.
course, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, but I'm just saying. This is my speculation.
They could probably also use the Mr. Unworth approach. He called me names, even though I started it. Oh man, we watched the 13 documentary drama thing, and we were expecting to see some mention of Musk and the kitty sub, and it did not make it in there. My wife thinks that the guy with the weird name that they mentioned for like a second might have been them, but um, oh well. All right, so Ava was talking about the Model 3 and Model Y are the most requested luxury cars in the U.S. for auto loans. I still don't see how they're considered luxury cars other than price. Uh, the, the data was collected by Lending Tree for 2 years, which can demonstrate a fairly deep understanding of the market. I mean, yeah, whatever people are trying to get the money for is what they're trying to buy, right? That or everything
Makes
else is
sense to
being paid
me.
for in cash.
Well, if you think about it, okay, they're the most requested for auto loans for luxury cars. Okay, well, the numbers would prove that out if you look at the number of Teslas being sold versus the number of, let's say, BMWs or whatever, whatever
Yeah,
other luxury cars you want to compare them to. Makes
exactly,
sense.
exactly. And then you had the fact that the Model Y is just setting records left and right to the point where Elon has gone on to say that next year he believes that the Model Y is going to be the most selling single model in the world next year.
And right, because right now the most sold model vehicle in the world worldwide is I think it's the Corolla, right?
Something like
Toyota
that, yeah.
Corolla.
And in the U.S., it's
It's a
often the F-150.
and that's a vehicle that starts at like 21K.
Hmm.
So that's like a third of the price of the Model Y. So for the Model Y to overtake that vehicle as far as the number of cars sold, I mean that's saying a lot
Yeah.
for the as far as the demand for this vehicle.
To think that I mentioned this on the Tesla Live show. I said, well, to think that if you had told Elon back in 2017 that the Model E crossover is going to be the best selling vehicle in the world in 2023, I don't think even he would believe you. One, because they couldn't keep the name, and and then you go from
There's
there. The
that.
fact that they were having so much like just what he called the production hell, ramping that model up, it just wasn't happening, and they finally got it on some sort of it's dialed in basically. Not enough that they didn't have to cancel the orders, but or not cancel the orders, but stop the order spigot from coming in. But they started.
Well, Elon mentioned that he believes he's going to need like 10 more gigafactories to
Yes.
produce the number of cars needed. I mean, so he thinks that Tesla in a few years, 10 years from now, whatever, is going to be selling like what 20 million cars a year or something crazy. That's not, I mean, if you think about it, those numbers are crazy hot. Seems like a large amount of cars,
Yeah.
and but it's not impossible to happen.
Exactly.
However,
Well, I mean, they're already over a million right now. So they
they're
also
gonna have to at some point in time. They're gonna have to make it a little more affordable because you're gonna sure you can take over the whole entire market of people that can comfortably afford that,
right.
but there's a lot of people that can't afford those prices.
Right, and that's why they were coming up with the Model Next. But uh, I don't know if I mean, they're gonna have to redo the Model Next to keep it at 35, 25K because the 25K is now what 29K, right? With inflation.
Right. So trying to get some type of model that's going to be in the 20s is going to be
Yeah,
tough,
yeah,
right? But that's the price point that they need to get to
right.
for the masses to be able to really afford it.
But they have an advantage over everybody else to do this. Uh, Most of the car is software, so really all they have to do is make sure that you can have an inexpensive, comfortable car. Like literally, the ergonomics are good that you can ride in this thing for hours on end. Put a couple seats in it, put a low end battery in it, just like a B grade lithium iron phosphate with enough range so that way he could say that it's not a slow car and it's not short range. Because remember, Elon said we don't make slow cars, we don't make short range cars. So they just put like a B string battery in there and then really good software. They can do
Well,
it.
I think Elon once said that the car had to have like 250 miles of range or better,
Right,
or he didn't want to make it.
right, and
So
I
you
think
want to so you want to have a car with around 250 miles of range,
yeah,
or with LFP battery, the cheapest battery that they can do. But the problem is still the battery is still the most expensive part of the car, and the problem is hey Lee, the 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 price of their material cost
yes,
is not going down
they're
right
going
now.
up. They're a little
Those
jacked right now.
costs keep going up, keep going up. So the problem is trying to get the price of the battery packs down is a very difficult problem to solve.
Shoot, the whole car right now.
You're right, the whole car, all the materials for the entire thing,
Yeah,
but the
but
battery especially.
But the one thing we do have to remember is that the batteries have been getting better at about 5% per year. So, or every 2 years, either way, 5% on an improvement rate. So I think that whenever they can afford to make the car again, or if they just readjust the price for inflation, um, I think that they will be able to do that by the time they get the Semi, the Roadster, and the Cybertruck on the road. Then they can start that program, and by the time that car comes out, they will be able to build it with a 250-mile range, 5 seconds 0 to 60, profitably. Although FSD is probably going to cost like 3 times the price of the car. Here's your $25,000 car. Please pay us $75,000 for FSD.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
I had a bunch of work to do, but I'm trying to watch this. And when you guys got start getting at it, I'm like, man, I got to get in here.
Yes, got to get a good piece of this.
All
right, so
got to stop doing my important work and talk with y'all.
So what do you think of the Model 3 stoppage, the Model Y hitting new records, or Mr. O'Dowd who's trying to get your vote to stop this competition?
I missed that part. I just skip over that craziness.
So they brought up the FSD and said it was running over child mannequins, and then when we looked at the videos, it showed otherwise. Not that the mannequin wasn't run over, but that the Tesla did it on its own.
I guess it's just why do certain politicians go after non-problems? I mean, the bigger problem.
This guy isn't really a politician. He's just running for one so he can get the reduced TV ad rates.
Right.
He's a businessman.
Right. I mean, the bigger problem is drunk drivers.
Yes.
Sleeping drivers.
Yes.
More people are distracted drivers. As much as people like to say, "Oh, I love driving," then why are you on your phone?
Right.
Why are
you eating a sandwich, doing makeup, reading the paper? Like, come on.
I'm honest with it. The day that my car can drive itself, I won't sit in the front seat again. I'm done.
I probably will because they're the most comfortable.
I'll sit in the front seat, but I will let the car drive itself.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe I'll sit in the passenger side.
Maybe. My favorite is when I'm running down the road and I see people, and not just with Teslas. I saw a Model X with a full-on a tablet like this running down the road with it stuck to the screen. I saw a Camry which has no, like, it might have the bouncing off the edges thing, but it was going on with a large Galaxy class phone like this.
Oh yes, I know how big Galaxies are.
Yeah, I love when I see somebody like this.
Right.
And you're like, what are you doing?
Exactly. So I mean, that's the real issue. We should be championing these technologies, and yeah. So you may find some experimental edge case where it ran over a mannequin. So what? We should be trying to say, well, how can we make it better? Not how can we ban it?
Absolutely,
because
yeah.
When it's working, it is going to make everybody safer. And
mine has saved at least 5 lives.
Including the people in my car.
Well, not including the people in my car, because I would have just smushed them because my car is so heavy. But you don't have to pay for any of this. If you pay for none of it and just have the car, the safety features are still on. They're still doing their thing, and it's still watching, which I love. That's the way to do it. But with with my car, a couple times there were folks just camping in my blind spot. I didn't know they were there because they'd been there beyond 4 or 5 different mirror checks, because I'm always scanning and I'm checking the mirrors and like you're supposed to. But when you're there to the point where I can't see you for minutes, and I go to make a lane change, all I hear from the car is beep, 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 a little mouse fart out on the side where you are, either the left or the right. And and then I jump because, like, what was that? I do wish they were more noticeable, but they have worked so far every time. And one was a motorcycle, another was like a medium-sized sedan. Another one was somebody who jumped into my spot. Like it was in between scans. They moved so fast. And I did my check, and then I went back to check again. And I went to go move, and there all of a sudden there's a car there. And I reviewed the tape, I went back and looked at the dash cam, and literally the guys zipping through, like, those jerks zipping like they're on a racetrack, and saved us from a collision with that dude. So
I still don't know why Tesla won't build in something into the mirror or the side where you can easily look over there. I have trained myself to look at the screen, and I'll see the car in the blind spot.
In Japan, by law, they have a screen there. So on Model S and Model X, probably 3 and Y as well. But when you turn on the signal, there's a screen that lights up right there on that side of the car, and you can use it.
See.
That's the best way to do it. I wish they would do it that way. I mean,
we got the camera there.
Well, see, here's the thing. initially, Tesla wanted to get rid of the side mirrors because it
Mhm.
would save you so
Right.
much in aerodynamics,
Yes.
and they wanted to put a screen on either side, and those would be your side view mirrors,
Yeah.
basically. Um, so in preparation for that, why not put the screens there so then you
Hmm.
can easily retrofit cars later and say, okay, just remove your mirrors.
Take the
You're
mirrors
good.
off. Right.
But at the same
Whenever
time,
the regulations permit, or in certain places where regulations do permit, such as
yeah,
Europe, just do the screens. Like, don't
right.
even have the mirrors.
But if Elon is right, which he hasn't been so far, about when FSD would, one, be able to actually do what it's advertised to do, and then two, um, actually get its driver's license, its operating permit, then by the time you get the screens in and engineered, you're gonna take them back out because now you don't need them.
Well, I mean,
You only get to use them for 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
you know what?
two Elon weeks.
The cars that have them, they would just have them and they
Right.
wouldn't be needed. But
Yeah.
I mean, then you just change your line and just don't put them in anymore.
The problem there
After
is
that,
you'd have another variant if you're trying to get people to do options, and right now they don't want any options. That's why
yeah.
they'll call you up while you're on vacation. Come pick up your car. Oh, sorry, we sold it to somebody else because you said you were going to be back the day after.
Right.
Omar knows.
Yep, they will do that.
Yeah. But you guys are talking about a few things. You're talking about how Tesla is the leader in California, and
Yeah.
how they're going to get these cars cheaper.
Yeah.
I guess that's when I was trying to join in,
Yeah.
and I was just thinking, does Tesla really have to do that? I mean, if you look at something like BMW, I see BMWs all over the place. And before Tesla, I was a BMW fanboy.
Yeah.
Only drove BMW. Never bought a new one.
Yeah.
Everybody knew you never buy a new BMW. You always buy it
Yeah.
2 to 3 years old,
Right off
and
lease.
right off lease. And so there's other entrants that are going to make these sub $20,000 cars. You
But
can
see,
get.
you're looking at it from your point of view, from
Mhm,
someone who was a BMW fan, and that was with the thing that you did. However, there was a lot of people, and I was one of them for a very long time, who were in a much lower income bracket, who
mhm.
don't look at it that way, who look at it as, I'm going to get the car that I can afford, whatever I can afford. And if that person wants a new car, that they're going to look for the car that's within their price range in their budget, and that might be within the twenty to $30,000 price range.
Right.
Then, or if they do look at used cars, they're going to look at used cars that were originally in the $20,000 to $30,000 price range, that are now used, that are at a much lower price point than the cars
Right.
that you're talking about. So to reach those individuals, to reach all the masses, you do want to have something that's affordable from the get-go. Plus,
Yeah.
you
No,
totally
I am.
eliminate the argument. The other thing is you totally eliminate the argument for those people that still want to hold on to gas cars. Like, but
It's so
electric cars are
expensive.
so expensive.
Right.
They're for
No,
the rich.
no, I am agreeing with you. I am agreeing with you. I'm just saying, does Tesla have to do that? Before you jumped in, I was going to say, Chevy, you can get the Bolt. If everything qualifies, you'll be able to get a Bolt for 20 grand.
Well, that's true.
Vietnam is coming in with some cars. China
Yeah.
will be in with some cars.
Yeah.
So I mean, does Tesla have to make? That's why I was using the BMW analogy, is because you can get a used BMW for like a Model 3, a 3 Series for like 20K, but they don't start off as cheap cars. But other people make the cheaper cars.
Yeah.
Tesla would just be where they just don't make as cheap cars, but other companies will make the cheaper cars.
Yeah. So Robert William had pointed out that the Honda E-Up, I believe it is called, the little small Honda in Europe, it actually has no mirrors. It has cameras right at the sides of the doors where the mirrors would be. And then Kevin points out that they could add them on the sides. It's just a learning curve to look at the camera in the center where you see left, right, and rear instead of the existing habit of looking at the mirror. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
But also look at the Tesla Semi. It's still going to have mirrors, but they had planned for it not to have any mirrors, and so the two Model 3 screens are at the sides, on the sides to your left and right, rather than in the middle in front of you. And the very left and right edges, like the furthest to the edge of the vehicle, we're your mirror feeds. So they've seen how to do it. They just don't want to spend the money to do it.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
But like we said, the price of the car is already kind of high. They're trying not to make it go higher. So I understand they're not put additional screens. That'll be additional cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But another thing you pointed out with them not, like you said, how BMW doesn't own the market. I remember a couple weeks ago I was so disappointed in VW only wanting to do so many 100,000 EVs, right? And then we found an article that pointed out that VW only does 200,000 cars total, and I was like, oh, this is really aggressive. but compared to Tesla's 1 point whatever million, it looked like a pathetic effort, but it was really really strong for that company.
We're really trying.
They're really trying, but when you hear all the stuff about how how all these companies have been building cars for 100 years, they can do it better than Tesla if they wanted to, and then they come out with something that doesn't look like they want to, actually beat Tesla. Then you see that it actually is a really aggressive move on their part, and you're like, that's so disappointing. Where do these people get the idea that anybody can just fire up a factory and beat Tesla to a pulp?
I tell people over and over the best analogy I think is taking a pencil company and turning it into an ink pen company. Sure, they're both right.
They do.
They're both writing implements,
but they're completely different animals.
Yeah. Look at Kodak with the digital camera. They invented the digital camera, and where are they? No, not anywhere that you'd want to say, "Hey, I'm Kodak."
Exactly.
The Audi e-tron is available with cams here in Sweden. Yeah. I think the Porsche is as well. Yeah, it's really good. Well, you guys have cool safety.
That's a matter of regulations, though.
It is.
They're allowed to do that there. They're not allowed to do it here in the United States.
Right.
The regulators, it's by law, they have to have the side view mirrors.
Which is amazing to me because they get cool mirrors and headlights and all that stuff. We get stunted on our headlights and our mirrors, but we can have all the tech we want.
They don't get autopilot.
They have autopilot, but they keep making it weaker. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Can we get somewhere in the middle? Like if the ocean had rose, will we have the perfect car? Oh man. So let's see.
I think you also just the overall popularity of Tesla here, because as your California commentator, I have to point out that I mean, in my neighborhood, they're popping like corn. Every time I drive through, there's somebody's got a new Tesla Model Y, and that's it. Ys are everywhere. You just see them way more than threes. Yes.
Well, Elon said the Y is going to be their best-selling car, and so far it's proven it.
Yeah, it already is in California. It's the number one car.
It was the threes that you were seeing popping up everywhere for a while. Now it's the
cheaper.
Ys.
Yeah.
Now the Ys they're still cheaper than the Y, but the Y is just the more popular form factor that people like.
Right, so the threes were the cheapest thing they had, and then now that you've got the Y, but it's not actually that much more expensive than the 3. So you can get the format that everybody in the world is buying now, is these crossovers. But particularly in the U.S., we want these massive crossovers. And just like, oh, I can get that for just $20 more a month, or here's just $5,000 extra dollars. I can sit up high. Right. Yeah, let's go. I can tow without having to like worry about voiding the warranty. Yeah, let's make it happen. I understand elsewhere in the world you can tow with the sedans, but here in the States you cannot tow with the sedans just yet. Except the Model S finally got itself a tow hook, so it's finally starting to change. But the Model 3 is still not available in the States with a tow bar. So, doesn't mean you can't add one. It's not illegal to do that here like it is in some places in Europe. Some places in Europe you have to order it with the hitch, or you'll be violating the law if you put one on yourself. Good luck explaining that.
You can add anything you want aftermarket over here, pretty much. But
within reason, yeah.
You want to add a tow hitch? Go ahead.
Yeah, go right ahead. Just make sure you don't overload it. Good luck. So, Drive Tesla is reporting that the Tesla Semi with 500 miles of range is set to begin deliveries later this year. Elon said that.
I have a question. Is that going to be like his original announcement, which is 500 miles of range at full capacity load?
Oh.
Yeah.
Or is that going to be 500 miles of range empty?
Why would they walk it back?
Well, batteries.
The only thing I would see them walking back is the price. Because remember, his whole thing is concepts need to be not as good as the real thing. So they had a 350 and a 500 they showed off in 2017. Now it's 2023. Model year, anyway.
So we're looking at 500-mile range loaded.
Or almost 1,000 kilometers, 804.
And so how much is a semi?
It was 200,000.
$250,000. Yeah.
Okay,
I thought
so
it was 250.
Yeah, 250.
250.
250. Elon in the memes.
But then you're looking at so what? So that's going to be like 1,000 miles of range unloaded.
Probably.
Yeah.
So then the people I get into Facebook fights with about electric car towing capacity, why don't they just pick up one of these guys? It'll tow
they
their
can.
boat to the lake, and it only costs $100,000 more than a truck they're already buying.
This is true.
Ford Raptor.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
And they could be the biggest thing on the road because that's part of the reason they get that big old pickup trucks. to tow their fishing boat.
It only has the one seat inside, so it'll have to tow
It has 2 seats.
their trailer and then their boat after that.
Yeah, it's got 2 seats. So you got
2 seats, okay.
Yeah, so you got the jump seat. I love the jump seat on the semi concept. It was a full on Tesla seat, but the bottom folded up. But it was plush. It was thick. It looked comfortable, and it was off to the. It was really cool because it was off to the side of the driver, not next to them. It was like on their shoulder, like Elon's McLaren.
Exactly where my wife wants to sit. In my ear. You're going too fast. You're going to get punished by the autopilot. Touch the steering wheel. She's constant with that. You're going to get punished. That's what we call it when it shuts off.
Well, it's a perfect arrangement for her. All right, so that's going to be this year, he says. So the question is that going to be the Frito-Lay Pepsi truck, or is that going to be the Tesla Gigafactory to Tesla Fremont truck? And if not, then when is Pepsi going to get their truck to deliver their bags of air with a couple?
So I think when it comes to shipping, he means shipping to customers, not for them to use for themselves.
Yeah.
So they already have trucks that they're already using for themselves.
Yeah, about 20 or so.
So he, so there would be no need to make an announcement about that, but they're already doing that. So I would believe that this is trucks that's going to be shipped to a customer. So
all right, we're having a party for the semi. All right, Jerome and
Frito-Lay makes sense. I mean, they're shipping bags of air, like
right.
Yeah. You get a chip or two in there.
That 500-mile range is easily going to be 800.
Right.
Shipping bags of air.
The bags actually float the car up and the truck up a little bit.
I can still see them having the party and calling everybody up on stage to come get their truck, and it's like they're all wearing the Tesla trucking company jackets as they come to pick up the keys.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They could do that to troll us, but you're right. I think that it will be Pepsi and whoever else is first in line when they do that. But the other part of that tweet is Cybertruck next year. So he's not backing off on Cybertruck any more than they already have. So middle of next year, he says. We'll see.
Middle of next
year.
Now,
the Cybertruck, that's the other thing. So he mentioned the price and that they're having it's a really tough issue of the price. So obviously they're not going to do those prices for any of their newer orders and anybody who didn't already order at a specific price, because at some point you could just reserve one with no price listed or no configuration listed. It was just reserved now, right? And you just get that. So obviously, for all those people, he's not going to honor those original prices that they originally set out for.
And then that's gone now too, right?
For the people that originally placed their orders already.
Yeah.
The question is he gonna honor the price for those people, or is he gonna renege on that and back out of that and say, what? Sorry, we can't do that.
There's no way I'm getting a dual motor for $49K. It's just not gonna happen.
That's basically what Elon said.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know. Do you honor that, or do you? Because I mean, I don't think the single motor is even gonna be made. I think that's just gone.
That makes sense.
I think that's gone. I think
he hasn't even did a single
40K for a single motor is gone. I don't think that's happening.
What I'd like to see them do is just do a dual motor and a quad motor, and then for the dual motor, just put one motor on each rear wheel, like the Cyber. Oh, it's not over my shoulder anymore. Like the Cybertruck toy. Both of the motors are on the rear wheel, and then in the for 4-wheel motor, just like the Rivian, just put one on each wheel, rather than having to. Their whole thing is they don't want to have all these different configurations, right? You don't need a
Okay.
1 motor, and you don't need a
That's
3 motor.
that's still two different configurations. I mean, even if they did just dual and quad, I'd rather see them do for the dual a front motor and a rear motor, like they do their other vehicles. So
Yeah,
that
but then you still
can
have your
get,
differentials and your all that
but you
stuff.
can still get an all-wheel drive. But it's a truck, so for the utility of a truck, you still want to be able to
Gotta
provide
have the all-wheel drive.
that all-wheel drive for it.
But there's so many people who buy rear-wheel drive trucks, and this would still be a rear-wheel drive truck. It would just be more
Yeah,
powerful.
but the whole purpose of that would have been to make it much cheaper, which was why they had the single motor to begin with.
But if you put in 2
Um,
less motors, it's cheaper. Is it cheaper
Yeah.
enough?
I don't see that. I don't want to see that. I want to. I'd rather if they get rid of the single motor altogether, I'd rather see them just make all the Cybertrucks all-wheel drive and
Yeah.
just.
Or they could do quad and tri only, because the tri they already I was gonna say they already make it with the Plaid, but then that's still they still make a dual with the Model S and Model X.
You can't. I don't see them making. You can't make a truck that's not all-wheel drive. That's just too much ammunition for the naysayers.
It's not a real truck. I can't take it off road.
Not a real truck. They got to make it all-wheel drive. So I kind of like that idea of just dual and quad, but they got to put motors on both axles.
Well, I mean, if they put them both on the rear, then they could still say that it's just like every other truck. If you only buy rear-wheel drive trucks for some reason, like not just the cost, but like I need a rear-wheel drive truck, I don't want the front doing anything, then you can still do that.
Okay.
Or they could just leave those customers behind and make all their trucks 4-wheel drive.
I think they could just leave those customers behind. They have so much demand. The last thing they need is more demand.
Right.
When they do need more demand, they can obviously just add another variant.
Yeah.
I think the initial ones, obviously, they're going to come out with the most expensive one first, probably. So it's going to be the tri motor or the quad motors, maybe those 2 variants.
Yeah.
Or maybe they get rid of the tri altogether and just do quad in
Quad, dual, and single.
dual motor later. Quad, dual, single, or something like that. I don't know. I ordered a tri motor originally, so.
I thought it was gonna be the last one out the gate, like Elon said.
Well, I always thought that was going to be the first one, but
I mean that when he was announcing them, that was what I thought. But then when he said it, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me get the ones coming out last, and then.
Nope. See, I ordered it because I wanted the one with the most range.
Yeah, that part I like.
Yeah,
range.
He said,
"Oh
yeah, we're going to make a quad motor." And then I'm like,
yeah.
Oh man, I'm going to have to jump up.
Yes.
Quad motor. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, now if I change my order, I know that price is going to be much more than what I originally planned.
Yeah, I foresee the quad at like 99. There's no he doesn't want it to say 100, but it's going to need to be very close to 100.
Yeah.
I want this trailer.
But I'm the same. I had to try originally. Then I said, I don't need that much.
There has to be a variant under 80K.
Oh, for sure, because they need the tax
credit on the for those tax credits.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of,
that'll be the dual.
There's a up to $40,000 tax credit on the semi.
Oh, did I make it even cheaper for the
yes
for towing your boat to the lake?
This is my sometimes successful fishing company. we tow a rowboat to the lake, and if there's anything left, you can have it. If there's not, oh well.
Well, I mean, you're right. Plus, you're right off with your section 179. You can get that thing super cheap.
Absolutely. And Robert was saying he's not sure what's going to happen to his dad's order. So that's a really good question, because the Cybertruck, Elon was never really gung-ho about it coming to Europe. He was convinced by the Australians that, yes, you guys have enough space out there to make it worth the while. But he was just looking at U.S., Canada, and Mexico initially. So we'll see what happens with those. I mean, because there are people out there with pickup trucks. It's just not the most popular category for the Europeans.
Well, I think the initial rollout is going to be U.S., Canada, um, and
Well, U.S. first, then Canada shortly
the,
after.
he has so many pre-orders already. The thing's already sold out for the first couple years it's
Oh yeah,
made
sure.
anyway.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a couple years of him figuring out how to, mass producing, ramping it up, and everything else, and doing everything. He's going to have a couple years under his belt before he even thinks about expanding it beyond the U.S.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
I'm
happens.
hoping that everything that we see in this slideshow comes to be, but better. Like that tent and the trailer. I want to see them. So let's go on to Giga Nevada is going to source copper foil from redwood materials. Remember,
Cool.
we did that whole segment a couple weeks ago, twice in a row, where redwood is getting all of these partners. So now that they got all this source material, now they've got to put the output somewhere, right? Giga Nevada is going to take the copper foil from them. That is really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
So Redwood says when our copper foil production begins this year, Redwood will reduce CO2 emissions by 83% annually compared to the current Asia-based supply chain at Panasonic. Ooh, calling them out. Panasonic and Gigafactory 1 will be among our first partners to source this critical anode component. There you go. So it's like it's like slapping them at one hand and saying, "Hey, good deal" on the other hand. Oh, there we go. So I look forward to saying more stuff about Giga Nevada in the future.
And redwood materials, seeing them really ramp up is really good to see.
Absolutely.
Yep.
What is this? Why is this?
That's all good. That's good stuff there.
Yeah,
Just because that argument is constant. What about the batteries? Oh, when those batteries go bad, the landfills are going to be filled with them. No,
Well, first of
they
all, the
won't.
landfills aren't going to be filled with batteries. They're going to
right.
recycle those batteries. You're not going to throw away 18 grand worth of materials and just throw them in the ground. It's not happening.
If you throw away a $20,000 battery, and I mean that just shows that you're very wasteful for one, and then everybody on the chain of the way to the dump lets it go there, then somebody is missing out on some mad money there.
What was I watching? Oh, I was watching an older one.
It's free
from
money.
Hyperchange. Right. That makes no sense.
I was watching one from Hyperchange, just talking about looking at the source material for batteries, and one of the things they pointed out, just one anecdote was I think there was a stadium in Canada somewhere that's like trying to do everything renewable, and one of their energy storage sources was a bunch of old leaf batteries, and they were just looking at how long it's going to take to really build up a lot of source material for recycling, when so many of these batteries actually can just be reused and repurposed before they're even ready to be recycled. So yeah, nobody would throw them away. There's just so many uses for them before they reach full end of life.
Exactly.
Well, I was watching a video that Sandy Monroe did, and he was talking about how they would go about recycling. So he was talking about the battery in general, the structural battery, with the 4680 cells, and then he was talking about how they would go about recycling and what the process would be and what they would do. And he was like, "Oh, this would be really easy. This is what they would do." And he was talking about that, and I thought that was interesting because
Well,
he
yeah,
talked about using liquid nitrogen, taking them
right.
at absolute zero, just crushing them completely, just pulverizing them into little bits, and then using flotation because all the different materials float at a different level, and then using flotation to separate all the materials out. And then now you have raw materials that you can just use. Boom.
You just gave away redwood materials, top secret. But no, because they were showing how difficult it was for him to crack the thing open, because he was trying to do it where you can actually see what's in there and slowly take it apart and learn about it. And then people were commenting on, well, how can you recycle that? It's like, well, no, that's not how you would recycle it. This is how we take it apart. But for recycling, you just freeze it and grind it up. It's simple as that.
So this is the prop I was preparing. This power pack is it is from 2012. It was 6,000 milliamp hours. Still works. But I mean, yeah, I personally could just throw it away because it was $100 12 years ago. But and it still works, so I'm not going to throw it away now. But like when I'm done with it, like there wouldn't be a battery drop station at Best Buy and a couple other places if there was no money in it.
Right. But
Right.
that's for that point, if I don't know how many, besides that one example I gave, how many people are grabbing batteries before they get to the recycle point? Because we did this little quick math of
Yeah,
Teslas are going on 12 years old, those batteries are now ready for recycling. But are
yeah.
they? Are they really going back into recycling after 12 years? Or are they being grabbed for some other energy storage use?
That's reuse. Reuse is the
They're
type of
being reused first. It's reused
Right.
and recycle
exactly. Reuse is
because
the type of recycling. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's still Tesla Roadsters out there with their original batteries that are still working.
exactly.
So
Right. But
The other
I
those
day,
guess
were from
my
2009.
yeah.
but the
The other
point, my question point is that they're not, that the timeline of when batteries are actually going to be going back into recycling is not the lifespan of a Tesla, 10 or 12 years, but
Right.
it could be 20 or I'm sorry, 15 or 20 years
could
before the
be.
actual battery is ready to be
But
recycled.
don't forget you've got all the scrap from the current cars. Like if you got a battery that's a D grade and you can't sell that thing, you gotta just recycle it because it's not worth the labor to go take it apart and figure out what cells are good and everything. Just chuck the whole thing in the shredder and start afresh. Um, Google stole my last phone because the battery's full. They're like, yeah, the battery's full, and we're not gonna give you jack for it. I'm like, well, give me my stuff back. They're like, nah, we kept
Of course
it.
we did. Because there's gold in them phones.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Like literally.
Yeah, so folks aren't going to let just valuable resources just rot away. I mean, yeah, that may be what they do at home, but that's not what normal people do.
Well, they think about
Well,
here's the
actually, no,
thing.
that is what normal people do. We
But
have not been educated enough on and it has not been made easy enough to recycle these things.
Hmm.
but here's the
But
thing.
if you saw like in New York, New Jersey, all them, you see the little 5 cent deposit on the can. It's probably going up now to make you still worth your while. You see that sticker sitting on your battery pack. You're going to think twice before you throw it away. Not 5 cents, but like $1,000 return reward. Uh, it might be worth it
I
for me to
would
get it shipped
I
over
would
there.
still argue that most people, when they pop two double A's out of their remote control for their TV, throw them in the
They
trash.
just throw them in the trash.
Well,
They
that's
did.
what your when you look at the container of an alkaline, it doesn't say don't throw it away.
Right. So that's my point. So we just have not been educated
Oh,
enough
yeah, they're
to
probably applying
understand.
that same analogy from an alkaline to a lithium. Yeah, lithium batteries, they all say don't throw them away. Don't puncture, don't throw away. But I bet you they still do just throw them away because they're so small. And like you said, it's what
Well,
you do with the alkalines.
and a
Right.
lot of people that are saying this about the battery packs are just going to be filling up all the landfills. They're thinking about it in the terms of these gas cars that they see at the junkyards that are just taking up a bunch of space, that are just scrap metal just laying around, that are
Well,
just
what they don't realize with
wasted.
those is
But
after they're picked completely clean at the junkyard and they need that spot for another car, they go into a crusher and then they get smelted because that is
right,
valuable steel, iron, and
and
lead.
that scrap metal can then be melted down and then used again for something else, right?
Exactly.
And that's the thing that they're not thinking about.
Right. And just because you got in a wreck and you no longer have the car doesn't mean that your insurance company didn't sell the scrap metal because there's still value left in the car, even if it's not valuable as a car.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. So speaking of prices and values, and no new electric vehicles on the market today qualify for the new EV tax credit, according to The Verge, which
I saw that one.
is true-ish. As Dawood pointed out when he jumped on the show, the Bolt qualifies today. Not if you buy it today, but if nothing changes and you buy it in January, it still qualifies. So let's see why they are claiming this. They run on EV
Because
most
of the
EVs
source of the batteries. They're
run on
saying.
batteries from
Yeah,
China,
one of the
but
batteries.
the source minerals requirement does not kick in at the same time as the tax credit. It kicks in, I think, a year or two later. So these manufacturers have time to fix their stuff.
To fix their sources of where they're getting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. To
So
my
I was,
American
yeah.
partners. So there's a little gap in it. My American partners.
Yeah.
Robert says they won't let people go to the recycling center, so they're dumping the battery. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, if you're trying and everybody's making it difficult to get rid of something, I totally understand wanting to just chuck it and be done with it. That's different. But if there's a phone number on top, like there is with the Prius and Tesla and everybody else's batteries, says call here 1-800 scrap battery, reward if found, then I have a feeling that's like they come pick it up. You don't even got to figure out how to ship 1,000 pounds of lithium across the sea. Then, like if it's that easy, hey, I'm done with it. I'm here. Come get it on Thursday. I think we'll see just fine number of returns. And like Dawood said, there's a lot of people out there looking for them. Hey, I saw that you trashed your Model S. Can I get that battery?
You'll get a call from Rich Rebuilds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so they're complaining about the content of the batteries, but like I said, that's not going to be an issue yet. Now, if nothing else changes, then yes, it will be. The other problem that I thought they were going to say was that most of the market is just priced above the minimum price, or maximum price, I should say.
But that's what Rivian was crying about.
Yeah, you priced us out. Well, make it cheaper. That's the whole point of the incentive. It's to incentivize you to do what we want.
Exactly.
Lower your price.
That was my problem with that was my problem with it at first, is because some things didn't qualify for it. But then when I took a second and thought, it's an incentive. You want to get the money, you got to jump through the hoops, and the hoops are good hoops. You know, we need to be building more of this stuff in America, and except for the 7 kilowatt hour part of it, but you can talk about that later. But as far as getting, I think the minimum battery size for to qualify needs to be what, 7 kilowatt hours.
They removed the requirement.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Because the one that's still in force today is 7 to 16 kilowatt hours, and that's why Toyota wasted so much on plug-in hybrids that go 11 miles, because they went for the bare minimum to qualify, burn up all their tax credits, and then got lucky that this thing passed, because they were about to run out of credits right when their first EV with the that they're buying back because the hub bolts aren't working or something. There's more to that story.
Yeah.
So wait, is there a minimum battery size that you need to qualify for this?
I didn't see one on the summaries that I read for the new one.
So that means
so what's the problem with the minimum battery size? Because the whole point of it was to try to make EVs so that people can eliminate using gas, and you therefore help environmental. You help with your environment because people aren't burning gas. So if you don't have a minimum, then somebody can put in, it's a plug-in, it's battery electric, it's plug-in hybrid, but it only goes
5 miles.
4 miles.
Right.
So why is having a minimum requirement a problem though?
That's why I think unless I'm understanding,
you thought the minimum was too low. Is what you're
saying? You thought the minimum was too low. Okay,
exactly.
All right. Then I'm with you. I'm with you.
right, because they would all just put in 7 kilowatt hour batteries and call them EVs when they're really gas cars.
That's what Toyota.
Honestly, I think at this point in time, all they should do is just eliminate the hybrids from the equation and just say
that's what I was going to say next. Yeah,
pure EVs. Yeah. Don't even bother with hybrids. This is only going to be for pure EVs.
Or you need this amount of range of pure EV operation, and just ramp it up every year.
Or say it has to have a certain amount of miles of pure EV range
per EPA.
Right, for the EPA, exactly.
Tested, and if we found that you cheated, is forfeit to this level.
Like you gotta have 45 miles.
Done with that game.
EPA rated range of EV miles, and then
but that's still
every year it goes up or something.
Yeah,
but that still is my question, because the bill is written. Does anybody know how
the bill? Well, the bill's already done. So
the bill isn't exactly written. The structure is there, and now like the congressional lawyers are actually writing up the actual text of what, Article Section 7.3, like the actual words of it, but like what it contains, the broad strokes is what got signed already. So we're good.
Okay, so they could still kind of fix these rules in such a way.
I think that would be in the broad strokes, but the question is, like, do we want to sit down and read all 723 pages, or do we want to wait till it's completely dialed in and then read the legal, this is exactly what it says?
Yes, but right, I don't want to do that. But I do want to know that are they going to be making 3 kilowatt hour gas cars and calling them EVs?
Right.
Right.
And then Robert says, "Did we see the article about the $6,000 off if they don't sue over battery?" Yeah, we talked about that, and I was I think it was at the launch of one of the shows, and I was, when I'm here by myself, hemming and hawing, waiting for these guys to show up.
That was with GM, right? With the ball.
Yeah, GM was trying to get you to sign an NDA for don't sue them, bro, and they would give you some money. And my consensus was I don't like it. I didn't say I wouldn't do it, but I don't like it. And
I wouldn't do it unless I was getting rid of the car. If I still had
Right.
a car, I
Right.
would do it only if I was getting rid of the car.
Yeah, if I was selling it, I'd be like, here you go. I won't talk about this car. But like, if I still had it, nah.
Because if I still had it, no, I'm not signing off for that. What if the thing what if it catches fire and burns down my house? Now I can't even sue you. No,
Exactly.
I'm not signing off on that.
I think the other conclusion was like if I still had the car, that you had to come up with more than $6,000 to shut me up.
That won't even fix my deductible if you burn my house down. That's
right.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
let alone if somebody gets hurt, that'd be even worse. Oh my goodness.
I'm not signing off. That's why I said if I was getting rid of the car, I'd sign off on that. And then, all right, give me my $6,000. Okay, now I'm gonna sell this car and buy a car.
No, we actually went to GM. It was hilarious. I, my daughter's getting older. I started looking for a car. So I said, hey, let's go check out GM. Went over there and talked to the guy. He's like, no, we don't have any bolts, not the new ones. He says people keep coming in asking about it because we got those two in the front, but we legally can't move them because
they got the bad battery.
Because the batteries. So we have to let them sit there until
they have to sit there and wait until they get the recall batteries.
Yeah,
get a couple mechanics out there with a foot dolly and just push it out the way.
Right. So we can't even turn them on, so we just leave them there. I guess they're pretty far away from the other cars, but they're right in the front of the dealership.
That's probably why they're there. Like when GM said, "Don't park near anything," they said, "Oh shoot, we got these millions of dollars."
We got to put these away from the other cars. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, but I think they're doing like people who actually have the car, they're doing them first, then then I think new deliveries, and then like the ones that dealership have, they're like last on the list.
Yeah, I think Eddie's still waiting for his battery.
So yeah, but I just like before you move on, this is that article. I just like the idea of the incentive. I like the idea of moving things to the U.S. We have to ensure that commodity chain, and then the incentive of pushing up the amount of onshore mineral and pushing the prices down.
Yeah, so, and I like using the carrot rather than the stick. Rather than punishing them, hey, you've got this many fossil cars, we're going to take this money from you in taxes or shut you down or whatever. Versus, hey, we're going to make it easy for your customer to buy these things. So you want to make some of them things so they can buy it? And if you say no, then you're just leaving money on the table.
Right, and that seems to be the only way Congress can get things done. I mean, we need to stop using gas. We need to stop producing so much CO2. So we could just make a rule to stop doing it. But nobody's going to support that. But if we can find a way to spend a bunch of money and give stuff away for free, everybody supports that.
Right.
So the Chinese automaker Great Wall has tapped Emil Frey to distribute its EVs in Europe, beginning in Germany.
That's a nice looking little car.
I still like the way this thing looks. Yeah. As long as it can pass the crash test, I'd be fun. I'd like to take it out for a spin.
It's like a Mini.
Yeah.
It does.
That's what I'm saying earlier. Tesla doesn't have to make the cheapest one. Somebody else is going to make them. Vietnam's coming in.
Well, China's definitely coming.
Yeah, Vietnam's already on the way. Yep. First vehicle will be called the Orca Good Cat. I love these translated names.
They got a killer whale and a cat. Okay,
but a good kitty.
Good cat, not a bad cat. Kitty. It's a good one.
It has been rebranded as the Funky Cat for the EU.
Perfect.
So they recruited what did they say, Emil as their dealer. Emil Frey. All right. There you go. I mean, sometimes, as long as the company has a choice of working with dealers, that's fine. If they're forced into working with dealers, that's not fine. But they chose to work with this dealer. Good for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. Let us know when you see one on the road. Robert Williams will probably be one of the first to see him because he's always finding all these different models. It's pretty cool.
So it's just showing how economies of scale work in that these countries didn't get into heavy manufacturing of cars, and that just kind of left them behind. So now the countries that are good at making gas cars have such a huge moat that these developing countries just can't do it. So they said, "Fine, we won't make gas cars. We'll just make
Right.
you."
Let's get that next article. Yes, sweetie. Baby's demanding attention. All right, so yeah. I want my switch tabs button back. Come on, Microsoft. All right, so 30 million EV battery packs in 2027? Question mark? Yes, probably. There's expected to be 10 million battery packs shipped in 2022. Well, then, it's not that hard to go up more in 2027. Done.
Okay.
Well,
there's some raw material issues.
Well, it's not the raw materials. It's the not that they don't exist. It's getting them out of the ground and into your factory.
Right. Well, yeah, I know it's there. I'm not that guy on Facebook arguing there's not enough lithium. There's plenty of lithium. It's just in the ground.
Right. But like Elon said, you start a lithium company up, you'll be making money for a while. So the commercial EV market is expected to go from 1.4 million to 7 million in the next 5 years. Tesla is expected to triple, and then you've got everybody else finally coming to market. I think you can do it.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. So let's just say you have $3 billion in your pocket, like Omar does, and you decide today you want to start a lithium mining company. I mean, you won't be to scale for what, 10 years? Maybe 7, because Omar has connections. But the point is, 2027 is only 4 years from now.
But imagine you already have a lithium company and you just expand.
Okay.
You'll be faster than the startup.
Or you'll definitely be a lot faster than a startup.
You could be faster than the startup, I should say, because they could come up with some new tech, and that's usually where they get you with the startups. So Track Days has it right. 3 million.
I don't think lithium's that hard to mine, though.
No, it's not. You literally just put a straw in the ground and fill it with water, and then suck the water back out, and then let it sit in the sun for a while, and you're golden. You can also dig for it, or just evaporate salt water from the ocean. It's everywhere.
It's very abundant. It's a very abundant material. It's not like those rare earth metals like cobalt.
But even the rare earth metals aren't that rare. It's a terrible name for them.
Yeah, but it's still those are
not like gold.
Those are a lot more. Cobalt's a lot more difficult to get than lithium.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess the point, that it's from the video I was watching earlier, because this video is like 2 years old. But the point was that like I said, you just get it out of the water, let the brine evaporate, and you get it.
Salt and lithium.
Right. That process takes like a year to get a bunch of it. And the point that they were making is that that's the way we've been doing it, because it gets us enough lithium for what we need. Now that we need 1,000 times more, nobody's really tried to make it faster. Not that we can't. We certainly can.
Just nobody's tried to improve it. Right.
Nobody's done it.
Like, well, why do we do it this way? Because we've always done it that way.
Right. And then that's where the startups have a chance. So they come in with a new method that can outclass, like you said, what we've been doing forever: flood the field, let it evaporate, scrape up the stuff. It's not hard to improve upon that if you put your mind to it, right? So there's a chance. But Track Days has it right here over in the comments on the article. 3 million in 2020, 6 million in 2021, 10 million in 2022, about 16 million in 2023, maybe greater than 20 million in 2024. What about 2025? Done. This guy thinks that his numbers will go down for 2023. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I mean, they're selling everyone they get. So the only thing would be is, and remember, this is batteries, not whole cars sold. These are batteries built. So I don't think they have a problem with that. All right. So what is this? Dan sent us an article about a Vegas trip in a Rivian. Where are you, Dan? Why am I looking at this article? This post. I'm gonna skip it. I'm not gonna close it. I'm gonna skip it. Come on, tell us why.
Vegas, baby.
The problem is, if it was like on Monday, Dan might not remember either. He's like, man, I slept since then. All right, so our friend Joshua Aviv has a product called the Roadie, and mobile EV charging company Spark Charge welcomes President Biden at CHIPS and Science Act signing. Yeah, so let's see what they say. So they welcomed Biden and the CHIPS, signed the law yesterday. Okay, so this is where they were trying to bring back more tech manufacturing in the U.S. Good. And then he showed them that, hey, this is American made. Does what you want. Look at this. All right, so 75% East Asia for global semiconductor production. That's mostly Taiwan, a little bit of South Korea, a little bit of Japan, but yeah, mostly Taiwan. Which is why we keep having politicians go there and make the Chinese upset. All right, so the ambitious goal of a carbon-free power sector. So the company CEO Josh Aviv spoke in support of the new bill, which will fund $52 billion to U.S. semiconductor manufacturing. And he added, Spark Charge could not have been happier to play a role in celebrating the president's leadership into this historic occasion. And Spark Charge will play a critical role as EV sales ramp up. Therefore, more EV charging stations available, the easier it'll be to own an EV. This is one of the cool things about Spark Charge right here is tow truck companies can get it, and then they can just come do the breakdown charges for you, so you don't have to get towed. Like they can just sit there for like 15 minutes with a stack for you, and then you're on your way. Or he also has another service where if you live in a multifamily dwelling and you don't have charging there, they can come through, bring you a stack on a schedule, charge you up, and then they take it back, and it's on its way before you even have to go on a trip, which is awesome. Right now, it uses, especially for those new cars that can handle CCS. Yeah. So here's the article there, so you guys can read more about Josh. And then we'll move on to something else. What do you guys think about this? Is pretty cool. You got to meet the president, man.
I like that. I like his whole concept of trying to solve an issue with especially for people that live in places where they can't charge at home.
Yeah.
So there's a problem exists. Here's a solution. And he's got enough traction now, enough attention that, hey, he even gets to talk to the president about it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
We remember we all had the watch party when he presented it to the Shark Tank.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I like his solution for just for edge cases, not even for edge cases. As EVs become more and more penetrated into society, we're just going to find people who don't have as stable a situation. They're living in multi-unit. They're living in unstable housing. And true, it's easy for them to just go to a gas station and put 40 cents in their car.
Right.
Well, 40 cents won't buy you as much as it used to, but that's
it will with the EV, but not with the fossil.
Right, but now they have
just getting to the gas station and back in the fossil.
Right.
So,
but now there is just this little solution that they can go on. Somebody who sleeps on the sofa, and now their car's almost out of charge. They can just, get on the app and wake up in the morning, have enough charge to make it to a formal charging situation.
Yeah. Or they could just be so busy that, hey, well, I'm at work, hit me on at work before I go to my next client, and it's just ready. Any number of solutions, and I think that as this company continues to implement everything, that they're going great places.
And I think like I said, as EVs become more and more mainstream, this is something that we'll be able to expand with that.
Yep.
So
right.
So Porsche has decided to poke the bear, and they took back the record at the Nürburgring from the Model S Plaid with a Porsche Taycan Turbo S, and well, maybe now we'll finally see the 250 plus mile per hour tires for the Model S jump on out with the track kit brakes, because Elon's petty.
Yep. Track pack coming.
Yes. Less than a year after stock Plaid, almost a year, less than a year after the Model S Plaid set an official record of 7 minutes 35 seconds, 0.539. 0.579. A veteran sports car maker, Porsche, has finally topped it. The American's Beast number with the Porsche Taycan Turbo S with performance kit. Yes, I ad-libbed on that. They managed to do this with a all-electric sedan in 7:33.350. So they beat it by two and some change seconds. Not bad.
With the performance kit. So
Took them a year.
question: how much is the Taycan Turbo S with the performance kit?
Tell us. I'm curious. So
Probably the same as a Tesla semi.
Probably. So the next question is, let's see what happens when Tesla puts their performance kit on the Model S Plaid, or maybe they don't need to do that yet. Maybe they just do a free or paid performance boost like they've done in the past. Like literally just unlock the software a little bit. Here's somebody who knows about it. Tell us about it, Marcus.
I was just coming. Wait, about it. I was just coming in, and
so the Porsche Taycan has taken back the record from the Model S Plaid after almost a year with their new Taycan Turbo S track package, performance package. So they beat the Plaid did it in 7:35.579, and the Taycan Turbo S performance kit did it in 7:33.350. So just about 2 seconds.
it's my first time hearing this one.
Yeah. Well, it just happened the other day.
Okay. I got to do a little bit more research on that one.
Yeah.
Taycan.
So I was saying that Elon's not gonna let that stand because it hurts his pride.
Well, why doesn't he just release the Roadster?
Well, he doesn't need to release it. The Plaid can do it.
Well, that's what me and some people have been trying to figure. Because I can't say that this Sunday, but maybe next Sunday, hopefully I can reveal some stuff that I had done. I got all the safety measurements done on my car. All my brakes have been upgraded to carbon ceramic, thanks to Unplug. And roll cage, official safety roll cage for safety, no reasons. So it should be no reason why not. And I got the proper tires that Michelin speed rating that can handle it.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, no music.
This looks just like the Plaid run. Wait, does this car have an interior?
So I looked it up. So that Porsche Taycan, you're looking at 197 grand.
Damn. And does it still have an interior?
I was looking at the well, this is just with the car configurator. I was looking on Porsche's website.
Right.
So it starts at 187, but I had to add some performance package things to it. So
Right.
from what I could see, just my initial assessment is like 197.
Did it say anything about
200.
removing the...
As this stands right here, it might be over 200. I don't know because I didn't, finish with all the configurations. So you're probably looking a little over 200. Whereas the Plaid is how much? 150.
Yeah.
So yeah. If you,
My mistake.
I guess you can beat the Plaid by 2 seconds if you want to pay an extra, 60 grand or so.
or you could just buy a Model Y.
Right, with that leftover money, you can just buy a Model Y.
You got your track car, and then you got your day car. Or you get one.
Right. You have your daily driver and your track car.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that track car is slow, man. It's got beat by the Porsche. You can't even run Nürburgring in less than 7.3.
And that's exactly how they say it too. But Simon here points out, he says, so a whole raft of changes along with barely road legal track day tires to gain 2 seconds. Great work, Porsche. It'll be interesting to see what these cars can do on laps 2, 3, and 4. That is a very good question. Limp mode, unless they've been fixed. After 1.5 laps, the Porsche loses even with the Tesla Model 3. Oh, wow.
Oh.
the batteries, around 60% of Porsches have problems with the batteries. Porsche has full power for just 30 kilometers. Oh, but I mean, how often are you running flat out for more than 30 kilometers? I mean, not
I
on the
don't know.
street,
I
not on the
don't
street
drive
for
on the
sure.
autobahn that often. I don't know.
Well,
Timothy said, you know, I sleep on my aunt's sofa. Just kidding.
The roadie's got something for you then.
I think
but
it's
now,
nice
I'm sorry.
that,
What you gonna say?
the Kakar says, I think it's nice their top-tuned sports car can beat our family saloon. That being said, I think Porsche deserves respect for this achievement. As far as I know, there's no other competition at all in this area. And so this is a great advertisement for Tesla, as the Plaid probably is a lot cheaper than the Porsche. Porsche is better looking, though, in this person's opinion. Apologies. Good point.
You run the kids to soccer practice in the Tesla, then run the Nürburgring race.
Yes.
And then go get some groceries and go home.
And you're using regular tires on that Tesla, by the way. This isn't track tires.
Yeah. This person points out, still tires, wheels, and software is not much compared to what Tesla did last year to beat Porsche's record. Updated enlightened chassis, brand new drivetrain, updated software, new body, new brakes, updated battery cooling. Yeah, that's called a new model. They run, the old one was like 6 years old at that time.
Right. So they did all that, and now that's their production vehicle.
Yeah.
Like, you can go buy one for 150, not 200.
For at least 60 grand less.
Yeah.
You
Marcus
too
has one.
can have a Plaid.
Exactly.
Hey,
all right.
Hey, Kacey.
Yeah.
Have I missed? Anybody have any articles about people kind of complaining, about not getting a software update yet for the 200 miles or anywhere with that? It's almost over a year now. Have you seen anything about that? The Plaid owners?
I haven't seen any, but I'm wondering where it is, because they said, it's a little simple software update and some new tires. Where are them tires at, Bo?
Well, then you should complain now, Marcus.
Yeah, what's up with that track package? Where's them tires at? Where's their software update? What's up?
I got the tires. I mean, I got some tires that to support that, but
yeah. But when is Tesla gonna unlock?
But why hasn't Tesla come out with their official ones?
Right. I mean,
they made brakes
over a year now.
They made brakes, but they didn't make tires.
Right, they made the brakes. You gotta have the tires to go with it.
Let me ask you guys this: what's considered mid 2022? That's a question me and my guys were talking about. What's considered mid? Because it's available for mid 22. They did it last year or the beginning of the year.
2 months ago.
June, yeah.
Yeah, like June.
That'd be 2 months.
June,
ago.
July.
Okay.
And if they said Q3, then it better be ready before September. Right. Oh, Q3 before September. So mid to me is at the end of quarter two. Just saying. Yeah,
to me it would be. I would say by July at the latest. June would be the actual mid, but you'd have to have it done by July at the latest.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. So all of us have been complaining about the postmaster for a while now.
There's no joy in the joy.
The Senate has called the USPS bluff with $3 billion more for electric trucks. Will it go to 100% EVs? It's a good question. Sure. So the Senate has allocated $3 billion more for the USPS for electrification of the nation's fleet as part of yesterday's massive climate bill. In the latest move for the long saga of the Postal Service electrification, effectively calls USPS as a bluff by supplying as much funding as the USPS claims a 100% BEV fleet would cost. So DeJoy was saying, we are going half gas and half hydrogen and hybrid instead of all EVs like we're supposed to, because we can't afford it. So the Senate just said, you can afford it now. What you gonna do?
Give me another excuse so we can eliminate that too.
Yeah,
my friends don't make electric cars. That's the problem.
That's right. His friends don't.
Therein lies the problem.
That part. But I think Oshkosh, I'm sure if you pay a U.S. contractor enough, they'll just make it happen or find somebody else who can do it. So at the end of the article, the USPS PR has responded to them. So let's see what they say. All right. So they're telling you the history, how we got there. So then they're telling you the Senate did it. And so then they got an update. We reached out to the USPS and it responded with a statement about future plans. As announced in our July 20th statement, based on improvements in operational technology and financial circumstances, we expect the electric portion of our fleet to evolve upward. You better. We've been monitoring the interest of Congress funding. We've been monitoring the interest of Congress in funding electrification, and should funding be enacted, we will assess the impact on our plans. We'll get to assessing, jokers, because it's been funded, baby.
So will it cost an extra $1 billion for them to make them look better?
I don't care how they look. I mean, I do, but like at this point, let's make them all electric and then make them pretty.
Yeah,
they are ugly as sin.
They're delivering mail. Nobody cares what they look like.
Right. Well, I mean, ducks are going to be following those
sporty.
things all over the street. It's a problem.
Mama.
Yeah.
They don't have to be sporty. In fact, it being that ugly means it stands out, and you know exactly what that is when it's coming up the street. So it's fine.
All right.
I hope they have air conditioning this time around.
Let's just make those things electric. That's all we care about.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, AC and electric heat. Come on now, they need it by now. It's only getting hotter out there. So Electric says this update was, while this is about as non-committal as we expected, particularly considering the bill hasn't passed yet, well, it's passed now, it sounds quite positive. To me, it reads like the USPS is saying it without saying it. It's thinking about more electric, that decision is dependent on funding, and it's ready to assess the impact of new funding on its plans. Well, I think at this point, if that funding was with strings, like literally, and $3 billion for the USPS to make electric vans, and they didn't do that, then they will get taken to court. The rest of they'll get sued by themselves. It's got to happen. If it says not may, not will, but shall make $3 billion worth of electric vans, I think it's going to be done. So it's not a commitment to 100% BEV, and let's be honest, there'll probably be a few weird routes which are not best served by BEV at the moment, but a good 90-95% should. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just like we talked about with Dan about the electric school buses that all have a 100-mile route at the most, but all have 200-mile batteries.
I can't imagine any routes that the mail delivery wouldn't be able to handle with a BEV. I just can't. I don't know. It escapes my imagination.
Well, I mean, they have a mandate that they're supposed to deliver to everybody, and one person's got this house way out in the middle of nowhere. But I think even in those cases, you don't have to bring it to their house. It just has to be some place that they can go and get their mail. So
yeah, they have to be serviced.
Right.
Yeah. So we've seen that they can do it. We've seen a couple mail carriers go out and buy Model S's and on their own on rural routes and do the trick. And now you can do it with a company car.
Yeah, I mean it has to be done. But back to that idea of there is some strings being attached. So you get the $3 billion if you can build all EVs, and if they just don't build EVs, they just say, well, we just couldn't do it, so we don't get the whole $3 billion.
Right.
And then
I'm hoping they'd spend $3 billion worth, and then say, "Oh, sorry, we missed these 1,000 vehicles because you didn't give us $3.2 billion."
No, I think they'll probably go the other way. That we were doing this to save the government's money. The Democrats just want to spend, and Republicans we're just trying to save money. So we were able to get the job done for $1 billion instead of the $3 billion the Democrats were trying to spend.
I hope it's written in such a way that if they do it wrong like that they find themselves before a tribunal.
Right.
There is no bottom to evil.
But that's how they'll argue. That's how they'll spin it. They wanted to spend $3 billion, but we got it done for $1 billion. See, and it's the exact same.
Any excuse will do, and then turn around and flip it and make it some type of political statement. To me, it's just like, you know what? Put all these political sides apart. Like, forget Democrats or Republicans or whatever. Let's just do the right thing for the people. Like, let's just. It's just so frustrating that they're still we can't stop being so caught up in that this side versus that side. Whereas if you're in the same country, it's all for the same country. You should all have the same goal, which is doing the best thing for the country. Period.
Yeah.
Well, you can't if your ideas of what the best thing is are both skewed, then there's no way you're going to see eye to eye in that. If you
But the
don't
best thing,
see
but if you look long term and have the long term vision, the best thing for the country is obviously going to be let's all breathe cleaner air.
exactly right,
Not
yeah,
even breathing cleaner air. Look at how much money the Postal Service spends on oil changes, engine maintenance, postal trucks catching fire because they're 30 years old and the 12-volt systems are just like ridiculous because it's a Chevy S10 underneath all that. It's time. And then don't forget all the postal people who have to deal with the fact that these trucks don't have air conditioning, but we see more and more extreme heat every year.
so yeah, so if you're in a party that doesn't see climate change as the existential threat that it is, then you won't see these things as necessary.
But you
Just
can see
Well,
the gas bill.
but you could see the money savings over
right.
time in maintenance, in brakes, in fuel. You can
We
see
already
that. You can see
we already
money.
know we already know they have a propensity to keep these trucks for 30 to 40 years.
Right. So you can see money. Money you
Do
can
you know
see.
how long it? Do you know how long of a tweet that takes to make? The
This is true.
Democrats want to spend 3 billion. The Republicans want to spend 1.2 billion. Then nobody's going to ask, well, how does that
Well,
affect the
total cost
country
of
over
ownership,
in right, right.
the
That's a
spending
longer
the 3
tweet.
billion is going to save you a lot more than that 1 billion that they want to spend.
Robert's
So-
over there cooking in the heat wave. Goodness gracious! I hope you got some ice water.
Oh wow.
Ooh, ouch.
Do they have like cooling centers over there? Like I know Seattle, like they had a lot of people who don't have ACs in their house because it just wasn't needed, and now like everybody has to like on the worst of the days they get up and go to the cooling centers.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense that we won't look at how much it costs to try to alleviate some of the worst effects of climate change, but when Kentucky floods and now we have to pay emergency housing for people and resource for people, we just spend that money. No
Why
problem.
don't
Just borrow it.
puff up by the bootstraps? What do they need our money for? Blah blah blah. Excuse.
Hold on. Robert Williams, if it's a 49 degrees Celsius, that's like 120 Fahrenheit. That's
That's hot.
super dangerous. You need to like
Get out of the house.
do something. Get out. Just do like that.
How hot is it
Please,
outside? Where is it?
please, for your own health's sake, get out of that house. Do something else. Like I don't know if there's a cooling center you can go to, or I don't know. Go to the supermarket and just stand in there and cool off something.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
just those are deadly numbers we're talking about here.
It is.
It's 120.
Like, it is because when you look at
120 Fahrenheit. That's
Your body can't cool itself naturally at that temperature. You just start
that's
getting
way
hotter
too
and hotter and
much.
hotter.
especially with a high humidity. Like when you think about it, that's why we have the cabin overheat protection. It limits it to 104, which is not comfortable, but it is survivable. You got it. Yeah, that's way too high. I was looking at a video the other day about how one of the London Central lines on the tube is just getting hotter and hotter as climate change gets up, and they're pointing out why they couldn't cool it down. And it was, I think it was Vox, but the thing that stood out to me was that already today it is illegal for them to transport livestock under those conditions, but yet that is what they are doing for their people to get them across town.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah, like literally, you couldn't take a cow or a horse across town in that, but you want all these paying customers to do it.
But you want to
Citizens.
treat people that way.
Yeah.
I don't. Wait, so I don't understand. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, like you said,
You don't want to treat people at least as good as you treat
animals,
livestock.
Yeah. So IKEA is going to quadruple their EV chargers thanks to Electrify America partnership. That is good. They also have brought their solar system to the U.S., I believe. If not, they still have it in Sweden. I have to double check on their solar.
Good job, IKEA.
Yeah.
This is good. IKEA gets it.
So they're going to install 200 more chargers capable of 150 to 350 kilowatts. So they're not even doing the stupid 50 kilowatt thing. That is good. They're all at least 100 to 200 kilowatts, or 300 kilowatts more than that.
Very good.
Yeah. All right. So where are they going to put them at? 25 locations in 18 states. Okay, so that means they're going to do like a charging site, like a road charger, like not just one or two like you usually see with Electrify America, 1 to 4. No, this is a whole charging center. If they're putting 200 chargers in just 25 locations, that's at least 10 to 10 locations, depending on how
They're
they
gonna
do it.
have like roughly 10 at each location. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Yeah.
Arizona, California, Connecticut, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, Maryland, Mass, Michigan, Minnesota, York, PA. Question: are these all the states where IKEA is currently in the United States? I mean, or does IKEA have other locations in other states where they're just not doing it?
Yeah. So I'm hoping
I'm
this
curious
is
if this is at all their locations.
I'm wondering if that's all their locations. Let me put myself on mute and ask the magic box.
Because I know the closest IKEA to me that I can think of is in Pennsylvania. So it's in Philly.
The magic box is just telling me how many are nearby, which is not what I asked it. I asked how many there are in the U.S. All right, I can't type with this other hand being full, so one of you guys wants to look that up real quick.
There are 27 U.S. and territories with IKEA locations.
So all but 2 of them are getting more chargers. That is awesome.
That's good.
And you said U.S. states and territories, so maybe those are
right. Like
2
maybe
are
one
in
in
territories, and those are not being
Puerto
done.
Rico.
So maybe in all of the states where they're actually in the states, within the lower 48, that's probably where putting them. So it may be all of their locations in the lower 48 are getting it.
Yeah,
and if that's the case, fantastic.
Yeah, the only problem I see with their Virginia location is it is a parking structure. So hopefully it's in the U-Haul lot on the outside where you go to pick up stuff if you bought too much, because some of the EVs that are coming don't fit under a parking garage roof. The Model X can extend its doors all the way up, but I don't know if that's tall enough for, like we saw the other day, we saw the double-decker bus across the country on Electrify America and competitors. I don't think a bus probably could drive under there, but I don't know if it's got like the emergency hatches and the air conditioner units, if it could do it under their location. But they've got, like I said, they've got the space outside to do it. Yes, sweetie.
There's got to be a way also to incentivize customers.
Yeah.
So that customers get free charging. I don't know. They
don't give it free charging right now. If you go to the Blink station they have, or the charge point station they have, they just changed the Blinks over to, I think, charge point. You got to wave your wand and you got to pay, which is, I think, it's fair. I think it's fair, but at the same time, if you make it cheap or free, I'm gonna sit there a little longer buying Swedish meatballs and.
So maybe they should subsidize it and just make it cheaper. I mean, I understand them not wanting to make it free,
especially in North Carolina.
At least make it cheap.
That's a call.
No, I mean for customers,
they make it cheap, right?
Yeah.
Like
especially not North Carolina, but there's still
some kind of like if when you get a IKEA receipt, it has a code on it, and then you can go into the EA app, type in the code, and then take something off the price of your charging.
Oh, that'd be cool. That especially be a way to make sure that you actually buy something, not just
that would be cool.
Not just use their air conditioning. I like it.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So let's give this a thumbs up. What's with it? Okay.
That's a good idea. Too bad it probably won't happen, but it's a good idea.
Right.
As these things proliferate, it'll happen. It'll grow. I mean, they might not initially, but I can't be the first person that thought of that.
I'm sure you're not. I'm sure you're not the only person to think of that.
So look at this. Bester says, I work at IKEA, and we all received the internal memo about this. The memo also mentions they will install Tesla superchargers at some specific state locations. But what's funny is the memo states that Tesla superchargers can be used by any EV. Yeah, in the headquarters they can, because they're part of the open supercharger program in Europe, which falls in line with, I suppose, to open the U.S. soon, which is also a possibility.
You're right. So if they're building new supercharger locations, they may be these V4, and the version 4s may have the
The
maybe
dual
the dual
connectors.
cables
Yeah.
or what have you, and they may actually be opened up for any EV.
Right, and they may not even open until that program has come online. That's a good way to look at it.
That's very possible.
Yeah. So this person said, additionally, EA has partnerships with Volkswagen. EA was created out of a court-ordered penalty for VW's Dieselgate scandal. Of course they have a partnership. They own it.
Correct. That's part of Dieselgate. They
You
had
gotta
to create that and do that for Dieselgate purposes.
certainly, I'm glad EA exists, but you can't let that history die. People need to know the truth.
Right?
Well, the thing is, people need to know the truth, because when that money runs out, the amount of money that they're mandated to spend, then VW no longer wants to spend and invest in that. Then what happens?
Right.
That's another thing that we have to keep in mind going forward.
So this John James says, IKEA is not a very useful place to put chargers. How about around supermarkets that people who don't have a home charger will use every week or so? So to that, I say the supermarket is true. Like when we use the supercharger at the supermarket here, the car is usually done before we get done shopping. So actually, since it's a V3, we actually end up accelerating our shopping trip. Had they been a V2, we would be able to finish just as the car was done. But now we see, 5 minutes to go. I don't want to give Elon $1 a minute, so let's get going, because it's not right outside the supermarket. It's across the whole of the parking lot, across to the next big box store. Not that I'm complaining. It's not a long walk, but it's enough that you need to hoof it.
You need a couple minutes to get there. Right.
Yeah. When you
You'll
get
get
the
overage. If you leave when you get the first text, you'll get overage fees.
Exactly. That first text is that you're leaving now, not soon. It's now.
Not wait 5 minutes and leave. No.
Exactly.
Well, that's what you get
Unless
for
you
getting a
run.
new Model X. I still take 45 minutes to charge it.
That's not new.
Maxing out at 68 kilowatts in my car.
Mine's about to turn 4. Yeah, but I still can hit 170 on a V3 for a
Oh,
moment.
that's fancy.
It is
showing
fancy.
off. Mine does 128 for like a hot second.
Ooh.
Wow, look at it. Then it drops off.
Yep.
My Model Y does 250 for like a few
250.
seconds, and then
Right?
it starts to drop. It only does it for
250.
like 30 seconds, and then it just starts dropping.
This is down there like smoke will do it for about 15 minutes, and then I'm done.
I wish I had that kind of battery cooling.
Yes. So these chargers are very slow, says Torpedo. He's confusing them with the V2 chargers that are currently deployed at IKEA, which the ones that just got ripped out of the Virginia one, they were super slow because they were the old Blink units that were constantly breaking down. But now they've got the new ones, which I believe are Electrify America, or not Electrify America, I believe are ChargePoint, but I got to look again. They're a little bit faster slow, but they're still slow. And then Greg points out that you have confused level 2s, and these are supposed to be DC fast chargers. So to go back to the first guy's point, exactly. To go to the first guy's point, the same amount of time you spend in the grocery store, you spend that or more at an IKEA, unless you're going in and know exactly what you want. In fact, if you go in and you follow the calorie corral,
it's a 30-minute circuit.
Yeah, it's a 30-minute circuit just to get through the showroom, and then another to get to the through the
checkout line
warehouse, and then
don't get meatballs.
Don't get meatballs, and let it be a off day for everybody. You're going to be waiting in line for a minute. They are just as bad as Walmart at making sure all their lanes are open.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So I think IKEA is a great place for a DC fast charger. In fact, I say that if they put the superchargers there, don't go alone, because you're going to need somebody to go down and unplug the car before you get out of line.
Yeah, because you're gonna.
Yeah. Hey, babe, I need you to go run and unplug the car, because I'm not paying Elon for an hour of waiting in line on this thing. Because that's $65 right there. Because it's retro. Once you hit the point, it's retro. So Keith says, I doubt they will subsidize the charging, considering how few locations there are and how many people will drive there to get one. Once it becomes a perk, just to have it available. Yeah, I think it would be nice, like Dawood said, like if you prove that you bought something, that would be a good way to mitigate some of that behavior that people do when there's free stuff. And I mean, because look at what you can get from them. Like it would incentivize you to go from them versus a competitor. So it's not bad.
Or if they're going to charge you, I mean, it would be nice for them to just charge you what it costs them.
Right.
the electric rates. Instead of charging, 35 cents a kilowatt or something like that or whatever, charge what it actually charge what they're actually paying.
Yeah.
So if they're paying 11 cents a kilowatt, then charge 11 cents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Robert says someone got a fine for leaving the charging and going to another shopping, which is I remember that story. There was a guy who left. There was a sign all around that said "Don't leave your car." It wasn't just for charging. Don't leave your car. This is not general parking. This is for shoppers. And yeah.
Well, it's their private property. If they don't want somebody parking there that's not in their store, that's in a different store, then
right. And then they want you to leave and make room for another customer when you're done. And he did neither of those things. So yeah, he earned that.
Wait, I'm missing it. The one store installed the chargers and says
but they weren't
charge
chargers. They were local level 2 or DC fast chargers, and they had a 30-minute parking limit or something like that, 20 or 30-minute parking limit. And,
Okay.
and they wanted you to leave when you were done shopping. They didn't want you to just sit in your car for the rest of the minutes. So, and they were signs, so it sucks. But he walked into that one.
Okay, so yeah, okay, you pull in, you can park for 30 minutes, but
and
if
there's
you're done
signs.
shopping in 20 minutes, you leave in 20.
Right.
You don't take the other 10.
Exactly. So Anders says, Kacey, you need to drive longer before going to the shop. I agree, but the problem is that the nearest superchargers are both 3 clicks from me. So if I go to the Gen 2 station and then go shop them all, I've only burned 1.7 miles. And if I go to the grocery store, I've only burned 1.8 miles. So,
so wait longer in between charges? I don't know.
So one thing I did try was we came back from a trip, and so I set my car to the minimum charge level, so it would only go to 50%. That way, if anything happened, I had a 97-mile range or something like that, which I didn't even realize it was that low because I don't do miles, I do percent. I was like, 90 miles? I can't even do 90 miles with this? But anyway, so I took it with that 50% to the supercharger, and then we made it to the checkout. I got the text, and then we speed walked from the exit to the car. And then as I'm unloading the groceries, we had to unplug because we hit the limit while like we were like on the second to last bag, and I heard click click because the relays opened up. I was like, oh boy, no Elon. Yeah.
Oh, you're good. I've paid it before.
Yep. According to PlugShare, the J1772 IKEA in Charlotte, the rate is 19 cents a kilowatt hour. If they get fast charging. I wonder if they'll increase the rate. Well, that's awesome because the last time I was at IKEA in Charlotte, they didn't have any charging. I don't remember.
So if they have a J plug there, the question is, what platform is that on? Is that
right? And did they all change to the same platform, or did mine just change?
Is it yeah? Because is it Blink? Is it ChargePoint?
Yeah,
and
the last one.
The other question is, so these are going to be Electrify America, and if these are Electrify America, I'm pretty sure their rates are probably going to be whatever the EA.
Right. So speaking of that,
is.
The supermarket that has the supercharger, they have two EA fast chargers and one EA's level 2. So are they going to get the contract for the level 2s? Are they going to add, or what are they going to do with that at IKEA? Because IKEA
probably,
at least
I would guess that
they
would probably add to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would guess that they probably just add to it. Just add.
But are they going to have 2 vendors?
The DC fast chargers, just have 2 vendors. Keep the level 2s that are already there, and then just add the DC fast chargers on EA.
Yeah, but I mean, I would, if I were EA, I'd be like, hey, and we'll administer this for you. By the way, that way, it doesn't matter where the customer parks; they have a good experience as an EA customer. Oh, sorry, you parked at spot 7. That's ChargePoint. You got to use your other card.
Well, no, but if the EA ones are the DC fast chargers and the ChargePoint ones
that makes sense.
are the level 2s, then if
so they don't put in any level 2 EAs.
Don't put any EA level 2s in, since you already have level 2s.
That works.
You just only do DC fast chargers. I think that would work.
Keith says it's ChargePoint for sure over at Charlotte. Okay, so they must have switched to ChargePoint for their level 2s. That's cool.
I wonder if the Blink. I wonder if the one in Philly.
Andrew says go to the next city and go back. That's a good idea. So Omar and I are going to an event. Was it next Saturday? So I'll do that and then come back to the grocery store.
There you go.
It's in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that'll be fun. And then I'll get groceries. Get my money's worth.
There you go.
Yes. This only shows how badly informed the general public is about EVs. 80% of IKEA's customers with EV will need a Tesla supercharger, not Ionity. Oh, yeah, it's true. Imagine they don't have the adapter. Actually, a few DC chargers are a bad idea when EVs become slightly more popular. I think 10 is plenty, though, for now. You'll want to increase that later as the percentage gets above 5% sales, but I think that 10 is a good start.
I think 10 is a good start, and I think the easier thing to do is when you need to add more, add a bunch of level twos,
Level 2.
because
Yeah.
then once as EVs continue to get mainstream and continue to get more and more and more, if you have a lot more level twos out there
Right.
everywhere that people normally would go, then the need for the DC fast charger is a little bit less because, okay, I'm going over here, I'm going to run my errands over there, I can plug in level 2. Okay, I'm going over there, my car's parked over here, I can plug in level 2. I can plug in over here, so now it's not so, the whole thing with the whole range anxiety completely goes away. Where, if you can plug in everywhere, and the thing is, there's electricity everywhere. That's the thing. Everywhere you go, there's electric.
My wife just massacred my pepper plants. So we have hydroponics farms in the living room, and her Thai peppers are gone, and my Jamaican Scotch bonnets are much shorter than they used to be before the show started.
Oh.
So whose idea was it to put them there? Is it IKEA's or is it Electro America's?
I'd say both, probably. They came to this understanding.
Probably both, because IKEA already had Blink at
and then ChargePoint.
And
as
yeah,
far
and then they
as I
switched to
know,
ChargePoint. So
I think with the exception of maybe Atlanta, every IKEA I know is very close to a freeway.
Yeah, I think most of them are. Yeah,
they are.
So that makes it perfect.
And then don't forget, in Europe,
for travelers, not so much for locals, but for people who are on road trips.
Right.
It's easy to pull off, go to IKEA to charge
lunch,
up, use the bathroom,
and grab some
get
stuff
lunch.
you didn't need. Yeah.
Yep.
But think about this. This is on their mission, though, because remember, in Europe is where they started with the EV chargers. They didn't start with level 2s. They started with fast chargers, and they've got their whole solar arrangement. Yes, sweetie. You want mommy?
You know what? The other thing I like that they did in Europe, which I wish they would do here, is there's a lot of on-street parking where you have level 2 access. So like they might just have an outlet in the light pole or whatever.
Right.
And
I love
park
those.
next to the light pole, and you just you use your own plug, and you plug into the light pole, and then plug into your car, and you're charging off of that. So
we need the European style with that, because if it's a regular National Electric socket, I can see them having liability if they don't keep the sockets maintained. But if it's literally just the double-ended Type 2 connector like you have in Europe, but here just the double-ended J1772, then they can guarantee that's good for thousands of connections, except for vandals.
Yeah. Yeah, and then now the people, the individuals own their own cable.
Yep, and if your cable's ratty, it's your fault.
Right. Well, yeah,
Exactly.
and then you just get on Amazon and get a new one.
So you don't have to worry about the maintenance of the cables or cables getting cut or anything like that.
Or rolled over, or
somebody ran over,
tripping over one.
Somebody dropping them, and the connector's breaking.
Or your connector's not long enough for like all the cars with the weird charge port locations.
Right.
Yep.
Got to standardize charge port locations.
They did for MCS. They just got to do it for low speed charging here in North America.
Yeah, they standardize the semi trucks.
Yep. Standardize the port, the location, and the cable length, and then we're golden. I mean, because if you have like a 30-foot bus and it's on the right side and it's using the car standard because it's really just a van that's a school bus, then you'll have to put the port further along the back, like in the middle instead of in the front or whatever. But hey. Not the middle of the side, not the middle back or middle front, because I hope they don't standardize on the front or the back middle, because I like reversing in everywhere I can.
Yes.
It's safer. All right, so General Motors is helping Honda of America get their first real EV in the States. And by real EV, I mean not a plug-in hybrid that goes 11 to 22 miles.
I can't see that one.
And not the Honda Fit EV that they leased only and took them all back and crushed them. So there's music on this, is why I have it muted. Precision crafted performance.
Is that what happened to the Honda Fit? They pulled an EV1 on them?
They pulled an EV1 on them. They were pretty good though. All right,
Man,
so this is going to be in cooperation with General
Well, that's
Motors,
like
even
an
though it doesn't say
Acura.
there. It's an Honda of America.
Yeah.
well, Honda.
Acura doesn't exist
Yeah.
anywhere but North America.
Okay, yes. All right.
Everywhere else, that thing would have a Honda badge on it. So they have their EV precision concept, and it looks good. But the thing to remember is, thankfully, Honda and Tesla are the two that give you reasonable looking concepts. It may not be as pretty as the concept, but it'll be really close. Typically, what Honda does is they'll put fake mirrors and fake wheels on a real car, and lower it just because. So you'll have it a little taller and with some dumpy wheels instead of what they show you. Whereas Tesla shows you what they were thinking of, and they make it cooler, and then they, oh yeah, sorry for the lack of 30 months of updates. Here's what it really looks like, and it just looks better.
Wait, does that date say 8/18? So next week?
Next week, baby.
Four more days.
Yeah, 4 more days.
Okay.
8/18. So we'll take a look at this, and we'll let you guys know what we.
We'll update you guys next week on that.
Exactly.
We'll follow up on that later.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah. Cody says, I wish you guys weren't skipping hybrids to go full EV. I'm fine with that, actually.
Actually, yeah.
Although, wait a minute. Honda has been making hybrids for decades.
Yeah, the Honda Insight. Have you heard of that?
Right. It was the first hybrid on sale in the world. But where I'm going with this is, yeah, I'm fine with plug-in hybrids. They are good training wheels. We say this again, time and again, man. Would say it repeatedly.
You say it more than I do, but okay.
Yeah, but there's also nothing wrong with just skipping it at this point. We're in 2022. Tesla exists, and everybody else has had a chance to make something, and it's not as scary if you make one that has a reasonable minimum range. So, like, if your base model goes 200 miles, I think that people can figure it out.
Right, and other mainstream companies are making pure EVs. I mean, Ford got the Pony, is what I call it, the Mach-E.
Yeah.
I call them the Pony. So they have their ponies, they have their pickup trucks. You know, Chevy has their Bolt. I mean, it's 2022. Come on, it's time to just jump on the full EV train.
Well,
Let's
everybody's
jump on the
going
train.
to argue that they live somewhere where it snows year-round, and
You're
they
right.
have to drive
Uphills both ways.
Right.
And there's no charging stations. Okay,
There's no
if you live
stations.
way up
I have to
in
drive
Alaska,
uphill both ways, 200-mile round trip.
so if you live
every
in
day.
Alaska, in the Arctic Circle somewhere, and there's no charging available around or whatever, okay, fine, Grass. Well, keep your gas burner for now.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll get there eventually. EVs will be able to handle that too, but for right now, go ahead.
And if you only do that once a year, then rent a car on that one day a year. Robert points out you can get 100-foot cables here. That's pretty cool. And Eddie says
Wow.
his first hybrid was an Insight. Mine was a second-gen Prius, but I wanted an Insight.
I literally never had a hybrid.
Really? That's awesome. You just jumped right in.
I just jumped in both feet.
To a leaf. To a leaf.
To the leaf of all things. Jumped in both feet.
Yeah. So this one was one that Dan sent to me, but I also found it before I opened his message. Arrival Q2 earnings. EV van production starting with new sources of capital. That looks a little stretched. It doesn't look like the right aspect ratio for an Arrival. They're usually a little more narrow and tall than they are wide.
Maybe it's purposely built for that specific use case. Maybe they
Could be.
modified them.
I think that their forum software, their CMS made it look bigger because the wheels don't look that small on the regular one. All right, so they reported their earnings. They've got an anticipated EV van in Bicester this quarter. Rapidly followed up its investment with supply agreement from UPS. I like that. UPS makes 5 billion deliveries per year. And they want to buy 10,000 vans between 2022 and 2025. Take that, Amazon. Watch them deliver Amazon packages in the van. In fact, I've got a package that got diverted from Amazon delivery to UPS, and then they said they won't put it in my garage because UPS doesn't have access to that platform. Arrival partnered with Uber to develop the Arrival car, an EV built for ride sharing. And last week, Electric reported that they were halting progress on their EV bus and car models to zero in on van deliveries. It's the same thing I said for Rivian. I mean, it's great for the business to focus on steady customers that aren't going to be complaining about you online. But man, does it suck if you are somebody who had your money in and was waiting for your car to arrive. But once they get caught up, they get their team working together like a well-oiled machine, then they can go ahead and turn on the consumers, and then they'll have a service network ready. They'll have worked out some of the basic mistakes, and they can make all new ones, but hopefully also make customer service errors at the same time. Yeah. So that looks like all sorts of fun for various use cases right there. The Arrival and the Canoe, I always mix them up because they look so much alike.
It still looks like progress to me.
It does. Let's see, the CEO and founder gives us an overview saying we've had big achievements in Q2, including the European certification of our van and bus products and successful internal trials of both van and bus on public roads. In addition, we've made recent strategic decisions that will allow us to start production this quarter in Bicester, UK, and deliver our first vehicles to UPS this year and start production in Charlotte, US in 2023. Back to Charlotte.
Charlotte, okay.
Right there next to IKEA. He adds, we are excited to be drawing closer to producing vehicles with our very first ever microfactory in a few weeks, a moment we believe will fundamentally change the automotive industry. Speaking of electric vans nearby us, next to my house is a Mercedes factory, and they will be making the e-Sprinter next year.
Yep. It seems so strange to me that they're producing stuff in North Carolina, but yet North Carolina makes laws that are like anti-EV. Like I don't.
Well, they're also anti-union, so it makes it cheaper to take advantage of the workers that way too. So I don't think they care about the laws as long as they can make their products and ship them to places that have money. But yeah, it's really weird. Like,
but
let me put a big old Tesla factory in a place where I can't sell or service my vehicles.
Right. Texas.
Yes, that's exactly what I was calling out there. The Tesla of Michigan makes sense because they bought that. They bought Tesla Tool and Die from, I think it was a whole company already. They just bought it and said, "This is ours. We make tools now," and they make the dies for their robots, which is pretty cool. And then you've got Grumman Automotive, which is now Tesla Grumman Automotive, or is it Tesla Germany? I don't know what they renamed it after that, but they had a union, so it's not. I'm pretty sure that the one in Michigan was already union as well. So it's not like Tesla is averse to them. They just don't want the UAW in their factory. Those 12-inch rims look great for efficiency. What is that, a toy model? No, it's because they stretched the picture. All right, now I got to do this. Here. Oh, yeah, this she's talking about what the Uber partnership's going to do for her as an Uber driver. I remember this one.
Oh, wait, there's a tab at the top for a van.
I was hoping they would just show it on their homepage, but yeah. This is different than the one they showed off last time. All right.
So maybe they changed their design a little bit.
That's good. I won't confuse them with Canoe.
With the Canoe?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they changed their design.
A radically designed, reimagined urban utility vehicle. Well, I don't want to read the whole story. I just wanted to see the picture of it.
Music.
Yeah, good call.
Ourselves that none of this has been done before. When you're reinventing everything, every component, every process, that spirit of innovation, you learn from that and then move on, iterate, and create something that ultimately changes everything.
There it is. Let's see, the wheels aren't little Micro Machines wheels. Oh, they're done with me. They're not skipping when I skip. Fine. Yeah, see,
They are
you know,
baby wheels.
they're smaller than the vehicle, but they're not. Like, oh wow, their new software platform is beautiful. There's the key. All right, let's look at their bus, which is now delayed. Their bus looks like a regular bus.
That looks like a regular bus. Yeah.
But it's what's cool about it is it's modular. The sections are made and then put all together. The car is probably not happening for a while. Oh, so the van is just a big car.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so I clicked on store and it took me elsewhere. Ah, here we go. I don't know why they've got the van shrouded in mystery when they're willing to just show it to you. Look at this.
Oh, wait. Aha.
So they are
Okay.
smaller, but they aren't like that other.
Yeah,
thing.
that looks a little different.
I like this. The delivery van and the cargo van. I wonder how long you can make them.
Different battery configurations.
Yep. Max
Height
payload,
and length, you got the
100 kilowatt hour battery.
H3L3, H3L4. Try that. That got longer.
Yeah.
There you go.
So max payload is 1,300 kilograms. Gross weight is 4,200 kilograms. All right. Range is 180 miles. That's plenty. Is there a price on this thing? Of course not. 6.8 meters, right? And 2.7 meters tall. It's plenty. All right, let's go back. Let's do the cargo van. Yeah, I'm fine. Again, the shorty model. Let's go for the long one. Yeah. All right, so 4,250 kilograms. 1,461 or 711. Yeah, let's go for more. You guys who've been watching for a while know why I like these big vans.
This is interesting that you're choosing the vehicle by its weight, and then that changes the max payload. So I guess the weight difference is probably the motors are stronger, or more powerful, or something.
Right, but I'm wondering if it's also the max gross. So you're
Yeah,
just
that's
picking the
probably
one that
right.
can hold more, because they don't look any different. So, like you said, it's either beefier components or it's just got a better suspension or better frame to hold the extra weight.
I mean, something's different about it, clearly, for the vehicle to then weigh more and have a better payload. But it's just interesting that that's how they chose to do
wait,
their
here we go.
configuration.
Gross weight, max payload, battery capacity range. So if I change it to specs, will it tell us the empty weight? There you go. Wheelbase.
If you change the gross weight, will it change the max payload right down there?
It does
It
down
does.
here.
It does. It changes the max payload, but I was just interested if it. Okay, there you go. Performance, range, battery capacity. Wait, it tells you the power. So the motor torque 350 newton max output.
The top speed goes down. That's for sure. 75 to 56.
That's interesting.
And the gross weight goes down, which we expected because that's what we were clicking on.
Wait a minute. So the heavier one, the top speed goes down.
Yeah.
So they're using the same motors then.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
I was wondering if they would give us the dry weight, or is
So
that
this
the
is
dry
just
weight?
beefed up like suspension and other parts, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't like that top speed of 56.
Oh no.
Not here in the U.S. anyway.
I get mad at the ones here in the U.S. that have a top speed of 65. Did it change the width? No, it doesn't change the width. All right.
I would need that 75 top speed because
it doesn't change the range.
We have roads here in the U.S. and some of them are, the speed limits are like 80, and you're going to be doing 55. That's going to be a problem.
It will be. So I'm looking at the range. The range doesn't change. So I'm guessing that they measure them empty.
So the idea is an urban delivery van. You shouldn't have to go too fast. Just every once in a while, it's got to get on the freeway.
Right.
Well, Every now and then, you might have to go on the freeway for a little bit and then get off. So you don't want to be a
Gets
rolling
up to
roadblock.
65, you're good.
You don't want to be a rolling
only the
roadblock.
small one can go 65.
Okay, well, yeah.
Right, the big one only goes 55.
Well, I mean, you got to go wherever the big distribution center is, fill up, get on the freeway to get to the city, and then that's it. Then it's going 25 the rest of the day,
Yeah.
and then back
Right.
back to wherever the warehouse is, the garage
Right,
lot.
but you want to be safe.
Exactly. So this next headline is going to make anybody who watches this show go, well, duh. All right, anybody want to read that?
Oh, that's not this one.
I think that says, well, duh.
Yeah. Electric vehicles are way more energy efficient than internal combustion vehicles. Say you drop $5 on a gallon of gas, only about $1 worth actually gets you moving in a traditional vehicle. This is true.
It's true, but nobody thought about it. Like nobody said it before electric vehicles became
right.
the thing.
Well,
Nobody ever said.
Only
every
like the
time-
Uber nerds would say it, because other than people saying that diesel is better, then nobody else was discussing it.
Right. You never said that. Every time I spend $4, that $3 of my dollars are just literally being burned.
Burned a
Only
lot.
$1 is going toward me getting
Moving.
there. We
Yeah.
just didn't discuss this.
So 8.9 million barrels of gasoline consumed in the U.S. Only 1.8 million gallons, or 20%, that actually propel the ICE vehicles forward. So then they have this nice graph that explains energy loss. Let's look at it.
And that doesn't even talk about the fact that for every 5 gallons you put in your tank, 1 whole gallon of gasoline was already spent just to get the gasoline to your tank.
Right, and then don't forget that the gasoline and electricity take the same amount of electricity per mile driven to get into your car. Like to get that gallon of gas there, it takes a certain amount of electricity to separate it from the rest of the crude oil.
Right.
And then, as Omar said, you have to actually get it to the store. So either it's going in a pipe, or it's going. And most stores don't get their gasoline from a pipe, so it's going on a truck,
From a truck.
or a boat, depending on where you live.
For your local gas station, it's definitely getting delivered in a truck.
Yeah.
Right.
Very few gasoline stations are delivered by pipe, and the one I found that I could use that was delivered by pipe was at the oil refinery. So it was just on a pipe across the street.
A demonstration to see demonstration of concept. We should run pipes to all of the gas stations.
I think it's just because I didn't want to pay a truck driver to go across the street.
So most of the energy burned in a gas vehicle, as we all know, it's just wasted heat.
Yep.
That's what it does.
68 to 72% is heat. 4 to 6% is parasitic loss of just like the gears and the oil and the viscousness and everything like that. 3.6% is lost in the drivetrain. So just getting it from the engine to the wheels. Another 0 to 2% comes from your radio, your air conditioner, blah blah blah. The air conditioner is actually probably more than that. So 16 to 25% of the original energy goes to the wheels. But your car does have a fan to cool itself and all these pumps.
But to get that energy to the car, we have a system. The system itself is so efficient that you can deliver it for $2 a gallon in some states.
But don't forget, we subsidize that, because remember what it really costs is what we see in Canada and Europe. That's what it really costs.
So that's the real cost, right? We're not paying the real cost here. We subsidize here.
Yeah. It's just so mind-boggling. The problem is I spend too much time on Facebook arguing with people about this kind of stuff because they don't know this. They don't realize it.
Right.
And if they did, they would be clamoring for EVs. It's like, you got to electrify my truck. You got to make a truck.
Right, because you're going from something that's like 20% efficient to something that's like 90% efficient.
Exactly.
Right. If I see that meme of the coal train bringing the coal, got the EV fuel for you. Thank you.
That's why
I still use way less energy than you do.
That's why I didn't understand why Mr. West Virginia was so opposed to actually doing anything, because that used more of their actual product.
Nice
and he owns a coal facility. Like it'd be one thing if he didn't own one and he was just satisfying his donors, but no, he actually could have helped himself by doing this, and he didn't.
He was trying
Um,
not to show a conflict of interest.
I'm sure that's what it was, given that he doesn't care that his daughter does.
Right. The nice American-made coal goes into my car and still
Your
produces
nice American-made car. It's patriotic, baby.
Exactly.
Right.
So
It still produces less CO2 than your car, where you get your oil from Saudi.
exactly. So electric vehicle around 11% is lost immediately as heat in charging. So they didn't. They don't even need to include this because we didn't include how much of it was lost getting it to the gas pump. So that 10% shouldn't even count. But then you lose 18% in the drivetrain, same as the gas car, because gears and stuff. Their drivetrain is 3 to 5%. Ours at 18. Oh, because we have converters and stuff. That makes sense. 3% goes to powertrain cooling and steering. Okay. So total of 35% is lost. 31 to 35%. And 0 to 4% is in ancillary stuff. Also, we get 22% back from regen. So I'm glad they included that.
We get a
We
refund.
get to regen some of that. We get to recapture, get some of that back.
Yeah, if I go down a mountain, my
You can't
gas
do that-
gauge
you
my
can't
gas
do that
gauge
in
doesn't
the
go the
gas
other way.
You can't, yeah, that doesn't work the same with the gas car.
But that, I guess that's what a lot of people, what some people miss. I was just commenting.
I'm glad they pointed it out. That was cool. You usually don't see that on these breakdowns.
Yep.
And so 87 to 91% of the original energy goes to the wheels, including giving them the handicap of including their charging losses, because again, they didn't include the gasoline filling losses right here, because
Right.
not only did it take all that stuff to get it there, we delivered it by truck. So the truck is using its own diesel.
Yes. The truck's already using another 75%
So,
to get
Right.
the truck is using another 25% because it's using 1 gallon of fuel for every 5 gallons delivered.
Right.
So,
and don't forget the truck has to
on
go to a truck station to go fill up, because they don't fill up right there at the refinery most of the time.
right.
So it's all a Rube Goldberg machine.
I like that.
Turtles all the way down. All right, so replacing gasoline-powered EVs with gasoline-powered cars with EVs saves energy regardless of the energy source used to recharge the EVs. Can I make this bigger somehow? No.
I don't think so.
All right, so gasoline U.S. daily consumption 8.9 million barrels per day. Internal combustion 80%. 1.8 million barrels. What if I do this?
What, Control Plus?
Oh.
Oh, there you go. Whatever you did, that worked.
I went straight to the image off the server.
Gotcha.
So 1.8 million barrels of gasoline equivalent actually makes it to propulsion. You replace gasoline with coal, you lose 67% in the power plant. So 6.7 million barrels of gasoline equivalent. You lose 11% to the EV's inefficiencies, same way that you did for 80% of the gasoline. And 1.8 million barrels of gasoline equivalent makes it to make it go forward. So it's equal if you run it on coal. But again, I can clean up one coal plant a lot easier than I can clean up 10 million cars.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering how many states don't do emission inspections. If you replace the gasoline with natural gas, you reduce the so you actually reduce it by 31% on coal. But you reduce it to
on the left side.
Yeah, so even with coal, it's already 31% better.
Exactly. You replace it with gasoline, you're 48% better. So you only need. Oh, I see what they did. It's 6.1 million barrels go in, 8.9 million barrels.
8.9. Right.
Yeah, and you still get back 1.8 million on each of these. Okay, I'm tracking now. So they're just making it match the 1.8.
They're making the energy to wheels match, right?
Yeah.
So
then with natural gas, you only need 4.6 million barrels equivalent. You lose 56% in the power plant, still lose 11% in the car, 1.8 billion to the road. You replace them with hydro, you reduce the energy use by 75%, so 2.3 million barrels of gasoline equivalent. So I'm guessing that's just losses in the gears and the oil for the maintaining the turbines and stuff. So you lose 10% in the power plant and 11% in the, which makes sense because it's electric motor and electric motor. You've lost 21%, and you got the same output, but you only put in 2.3 million barrels of gasoline equivalent. That is amazing.
So no matter how you slice it, the EV's better.
Right. Even if you burn it coal.
Right.
Oh, it went back.
Which we do not get our energy 100% from coal here.
No, coal is
So-
on the way out. That's why you hear so many coal politicians
So people
complaining so
can
loudly.
still say, they can cry about, oh, your EVs and burning this coal factory to get you. Okay, keep saying that, but the fact of the matter is, we don't get 100% of our energy from coal. We just don't.
We just
And
Even
what do
in
you
West
think
Virginia,
that,
it's mostly.
and what do you think that electricity source is for the refineries to refine that oil into gasoline? Same source where I'm getting the energy for the EV.
Yep. Either they'll self burn or they're going to just get it from the power plant because then they can know it's clean. Because if they burn the raw oil, now they've got another compliance matter with their smokestacks and all their other stuff, and they got to flare off the methane, and they got to do all this other stuff, so they can't afford to self generate most of the time based on where they're located. Right next to the freeway in New Jersey.
Right, that part.
All right, so
you sound like you've been here before.
right. So pros and cons of various EV tires, performance versus efficiency. I'm just scrolling through this. I saw the thing. It piqued my interest. They got that pretty Mercedes wheel and that Michelin rubber. Let's see. How much does it really matter? This is not a skimmable article. Sorry. Grip, wear, efficiency, noise. Okay. So they're basically talking about the compromise for making a good tire. Same as with any other car.
All right, so it's been a great show, guys. I have to go.
All right.
But nice talking to you all.
You too. Thanks for coming through.
See you next time.
Yeah.
See you, Omar.
Good to see you. Take care.
We're not too far behind you. So
Don't
FedEx
spend
launched
that $3 billion all in one place.
right. So FedEx launches the Ford E-Transit pilot in 9 U.S. markets. So they're going to take 10 of these Ford E-Transits, just 10, and they're going to coast to coast, and they're going to test them out and see how it does in various weather conditions with their drivers, et cetera, which is fine because the current E-Transit maxes out at 150 miles. So they know their routes, and now they just need to see if this works for them. And then as the product gets better next year and the year after, they can then get the more capable models and spread them to their fleet. Same way that that Vegas is only extending their boring loop by 1 year, hoping that the year after they can get FSD and pay less, which makes sense.
All deliveries need to be EV. It's just,
I agree.
It's that simple.
I agree. But if you're holding out for better vans, I get it. Start with what's there, see if it works, and then you know for sure. I can make do with 100 miles. I don't need to pay for the next battery pack upgrade like you saw with the Arrival that we looked at. Like you had 3 choices. Which one do I pick? Well, we only ever use the standard pack. Let's get the medium pack in case there's an emergency. All right, so they're going to launch in Chandler, Arizona, Newark, California, Boca Raton, Clearwater, and Plantation, Florida, Chicago, Illinois, Madison Heights, Michigan, and Allen and Frisco, Texas. So nowhere near me, but all in different climates and stuff. Well, yeah, different climates. You got Michigan and California, Texas. All right, so FedEx Same Day City is the company's local shipping option, which offers door-to-door delivery at time sensitive. Oh, so this isn't even going to the hub. It's going straight from business A to customer or business B to business C. That's actually really cool. All right. Moving on. I mean, what more can we say? Electrify all the things.
I was going to say that.
Tesla teases new products, though they're related to the energy business instead of cars. Tesla's energy business hasn't exploded yet like its EV business, and critics have noticed. It seems updates are coming. Yeah, because they keep stealing all the chips and shoving them in the cars. Not that that's a bad thing. Want. Yeah, because that's what people want. That's where the profit is. But man, come on, can you fulfill some of the promises of the energy so people can stop whining at me? You didn't make the solar roof. The batteries are expensive. They didn't used to be.
I was there. I actually saw Tesla prices decrease. I've been there.
Nice. All right. So does it say what they're expanding to? They've teased some upcoming energy-related products at an internal meeting that happened recently. Reported the products are set to launch later this year. And it appears Tesla will use the product releases in its continued efforts to greatly accelerate its energy business in the near future. I'm curious what they come out with.
Hmm.
Do they come out with something like these battery stacks here? That would be cool. Speaking of
wonder
which,
if you've
we've been
done
on solo this whole show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you talked about it this week or last week. I know Tesla came out with a new like home charger, where there's more control that you can have. So like you can use it at a like a multi-unit
Oh,
development.
we talked about it on the Tesla Live show. I don't know if we brought it up on this one, but if you
Okay.
have 5 of the Gen 3 chargers,
Yeah,
you can then set a price and
yeah, that's
generate a QR code, and then you can set your rate for charging, assuming it's legal in your jurisdiction to sell electricity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that should be super cool. I think that could be one of the solutions for like multi-family dwellings, where you can now charge for overage fees. So people won't
Exactly.
just park their car there overnight. When
Right.
it's done charging, you go get it.
All weekend. It's been full since the first day.
Right.
All right, so Re Automotive, we talked about them already last time. They showed off their P7B Class 3 electric box truck with all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive. AWS is what? And all-wheel drive, all-wheel steering. Features the Re Corner Tech that packs power, steering, and braking and suspension components into a compact module at each wheel. Music. Please. Nope. All right, full trial in the UK's. So we showed a couple of shots of this earlier, but now they're showing off the 4-wheel steering. I understand you're a test driver, but you gotta wear a helmet.
You gotta wear the full uniform. It looks like Evie's smoking there.
But he's going 3 miles an hour instead of 150.
Right, exactly.
I would think that the emergency stop button would be sufficient. So X control by wire, maneuverability. I bet you the insurance company required it.
Right. But I love it. I just love seeing all of these things come into market and
Absolutely.
realizing how early in this development we are.
Yeah.
Because so many people just have no imagination about how this could happen, about how all vehicle transportation can go electric. They just can't even imagine that someday they can have a truck that can go 300 miles between charges, charge up in 10 minutes, and tow their boat. It's like
Exactly. And I
because
like that you
it's
said
not available now,
right.
then they don't want to talk about it. But
Exactly.
no, it's coming, and we have to start now. We have to start making these investments and the policy now in order for it to happen in
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah. And I like that you said truck and not van, because look at this.
Right.
14,000 pounds or 6.4 tons gross vehicle weight rating and a payload of 2.2 tons or 2,000 or 2 metric tons.
There's your boat.
I think they did it on purpose. So it's 2 metric tons, and they rolled it back
Right.
to the American number. Minimum load floor height. That's the other cool thing is you can use it at a loading bay, but you can also use it on the ground.
Mhm.
Cargo volume is 812 cubic feet or 23 cubic meters. All-wheel drive by wire. Got a moderate motor at 400 kilowatts. Peak torque 545 newton meters, and a range of 150. The
And
max
this
speed
one
is
goes
75.
75. So that way you can safely put on the freeway.
Yes, I like it. All right, and then this was them showing off their platform, very similar to the way that I want to say Canoe, because like Arrival and Canoe, I always mix them up. So I think Canoe did that as well, and so you got Re did it here. Wow, they're doing it remote. I mean, that's something you can do with by wire. When Canoe did theirs, they had a guy that just moved his position around on the vehicle, like forward, middle, right, rear, and he's just driving the skateboard around. I think this is actually a little more impressive, actually, because that's a cargo truck just driving around on its own, no body.
And you just
That's a
drop a
little
body
Toyota
on
people
top.
mover. Yep,
That's cool.
that is cool. All right, so next up we've got. Speaking of canoe, canoes to outsource the initial production of electric vans for Walmart. CEO Tony Aquila said that the company will use an unspecified contractor for the initial output of its debut EV, due by the end of the year, and then later on they go on to say that they'll actually build it here stateside as well. Those look like little Honda wheels.
Hmm.
So it's a little weird choice to outsource it all, especially considering that their whole thing was how much. So either they're proving the modularity by getting somebody else to build it, or their stuff is taking longer to get started while meeting their requirements, because they've got an order for at least 4,500 and up to 10,000 additional EVs from Walmart. Their contract manufacturing deal with Dutch company VDL Netcar, but it was backed out in 2021, as they believed they could start production of his lifestyle vehicle earlier if it made it to the United States. Oh, it made it in the United States. Okay.
I got to call it too, guys. Let me get
All
back
right.
to work.
All right. Have fun. Thanks
Good
for coming
show.
through.
This keeps me pumped for the week.
It does. Like I said, we're not too far behind y'all.
All right, y'all have fun.
All right, so there's a rumor that that Tesla may be expanding in Fremont. There's a picture of the facility. Let's take a look at that. It's a rumor, so I'm just gonna look at the picture and then we'll roll on. So this is the drone army right here taking pictures of Tesla Fremont on the 11th, and they're asking, is it possible factory expansion? New site? Maybe. It could be the track. Who knows? We'll find out rather than speculate.
Yes.
Aptera showed off their new Gamma interior, and some folks were disappointed that it wasn't more for some reason. Like, it was supposed to be a sneak peek, but I guess they amped it up a little more than what they got. It has a yoke, a screen in the center, and one of the driver in front of the driver showing a feed from the side view cameras, and not much else. That's fine. Music again. I love the Tesla charge port back there. I like that they've done the sliding cover. Wish it was automatic though, instead of manual. All right. Are they talking?
Wow. It's roomy in here. There's a lot of space in the back, too.
Yeah. Okay. I do like this interior. I think I ordered the orange one. I'd be fine with this
You say
interior.
orange?
Yeah, I did the
Orange?
orange one. I did. I'd be fine with this because that's pretty much how mine looks now. I like it.
When you say orange, though, I mean, are you talking about the tan look or orange?
The seatbelts are
They have
orange.
orange? Wow.
Yep. So if you want to order
Okay.
a Aptera in the link down below, I'll get a discount off my Aptera, and you'll get a discount off yours if you use my code. Click it up. Next up, we've got a article from Ride Apart about electrifying all the things. This guy has electrified his vintage Honda CB100. Adam Waldron built an e-bike for under 2,000 pounds that's practical and does 50 miles on one charge and is exempt from tax and other regulations.
Wow.
Stick it to the tax man. Yeah.
Wow.
And it still looks classic. I like it. Good job, Adam. All right, so then we've got Rivian doing Rivian. Let's just call it that. Rivian is reportedly developing a dig mode with wheels pulling in all directions. If you thought the Rivian tank turn feature was impressive, this is even more unusual than that. All right, so Rivian showed us a prototype doing tank turn, basically spinning on a dime with all wheels spinning in different directions like a tank. They said don't use it on tarmac, and then they just didn't even put it in the trucks. Yet, at least, if not ever. Now, even though the feature is still not implemented in production vehicles, Rivian is apparently working on a similar feature. Dirty B on the Rivian forums said the manufacturer applied for a patent with the U.S. Patent Service that it calls Dig Mode. It's a lot weirder than tank turn. In this new mode, it makes use of the top-tier Rivian 4-motor configuration, with one driving each wheel to again spin the wheels in different directions in order to allow the vehicle to make a very sharp turn. According to the Patent Office, systems and methods provided herein are operating a vehicle in front dig mode. The front dig mode is engaged in response to determining that the speed of the vehicle is below a speed threshold and determining that the amount that at least one of the front wheels of the vehicle is turned exceeds a turn threshold. While operating the front dig mode, the forward torque is provided to the front wheels of the vehicle. Further resistance is applied to the forward rotation of the inner back wheel of the vehicle, yet further forward torque is provided to the outward back wheel of the vehicle. So it sounds like what do you call it? The vehicle vectoring when at high speeds, but only at low speeds, like in mud and sand or something, because they specified below a certain speed. So like maybe you've oversteered for the sand or the mud, and you're plowing forward, and you've got the wheel turned. You want to turn, so the truck will help you turn by adding in the correct direction from the rear wheels. That's smart. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, because it's called dig mode, we presume it would also be used when the vehicle is stuck in order for it to dig itself out of a hole. Okay, I was wondering why you'd be digging. Yeah, you want to dig out of a hole, makes sense. With the front wheels, as opposed to the outer back wheel pulling forward with the inner rear wheel has the brakes applied to it, allowing the vehicle to pivot around its vertical axis more easily. Rivian only explains how it works, not really why you would use it. Although it goes into detail regarding the modes can operate under the patent filing, which is actually from November of 19, so it's not recent. It seems that they just now discovered it. Okay. Let's see if anything happens with it. That's kind of neat, and I like the way they did it. Dan is pointing out that 13 counties in Georgia do emissions testing. I wasn't aware of that. They're all in Atlanta Metro, basically. Clayton, Cherokee County, Cobb County, Coweta, and DeKalb, as well as Douglas, Fayette, Forsyth, Fulton, Gwinnett, Henry, Paulding, and Rockdale. And Robert says that was at the Millbrook Testing Center. Oh, cool. Nice to know where it was. I like that. There we go. So I want to thank Zachary and Marcus for their generous donations last week. I don't know that I thanked you guys at the end of the show. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side.